Happy Tuesday, folks. Welcome back to #AskGSM here today, episode 655 for June 16th, 2026. I'm Graham GSM Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well and enjoying your Tuesday, enjoying your week so far. Right before we went live here, I've been having issues, not only today, but just in general the last couple of days, with my laptop for some reason getting really laggy. And it's a newer laptop. I have not had this issue at all in the 2 years that I've had this laptop. And it seems to only really happen when I'm watching like a YouTube video or something and picture. And I've been doing that since I got the laptop. I don't know what it is in the last several days. And it's not just YouTube. It's any video that I watch in addition to like doing work on my laptop and shit and having a million tabs open. But like I said, I've been doing that since I got the laptop last summer or 2 summers ago. My point is, in the time that I was doing that, and the time that I've been having this issue in the last couple days, it's caused my computer and my laptop and everything to kind of be a little laggy. It was doing that right before we went live here. I restarted the laptop, which is something I've already done in the last couple days, but it seems to be fine soon after restarting. And before restarting, though, when I tried to do this, not go live, but like set up the equipment and stuff and, set up the stream and whatever, it was being it was being really laggy. I say all of this just to forewarn you, in case there's an issue with the stream here today, and for some reason I'm lagging. First of all, let me know. Second of all, I apologize. Third of all, I'm working on it, trying to diagnose the issue. I haven't solved the issue. It's just temporarily solved. I think when I go back to watching a video or like right now, I'm just shocked, unless it is being laggy. I'm shocked that there isn't a bigger issue because we're streaming. And typically that kind of takes up a lot of CPU space or whatever the fucking, technical term is. But we should be fine. Smooth sailing from here on out. Fingers crossed. If we have any issues, like I said, please let me know. On your end, so far, so good. On my end, it looks fine. But like I said, I hope you guys are doing well. We are still celebrating the Knicks' the NBA Finals win from a few days ago, which I did watch live. Still kind of reeling from that, I'm sure, as Daniel Malcolm is as well, who was in the chat. He was doubted by Nike fan, who we will get to later on. Nike fan said he would pay him $25 if the New York Knicks went on to win the entire NBA Finals, the entire NBA championship. And they did. Nike fan sent in a question here today. But really what he's got to be doing is sending in the $25 to one Daniel Malcolm. So shout out to Daniel Malcolm. Congrats to you on your New York Knicks victory. We talked about the Knicks last week on WrestleRant Radio, albeit before they won. The last time we spoke, that was before... was that before Game 4? Game 4 was on Wednesday, so that was right after Game 4, which was crazy. Game 5 was on Saturday, which I did watch live, and that was awesome. So yeah, we'll get into a lot of that here today as well, I am sure. And we will get into all the questions momentarily. Do want to start off the stream, as we always do, by shouting out our channel members. Alexis, Miss Maud Matthews, Dillon, DiGiacomo, Mrs. Renee, Daniel Malcolm, at I'm Quarter on X, DJ Swerve1 at Swerve1 on IG, Mr. Marceau at RJ_Marceau on X, John Ritland, Real Honesty with John Ritland on YouTube, Richie Red Planet Wrestling on YouTube, and Average Grunt at gruntwrestling.bluesky.social on Blue Sky. Thank you to our channel members. More information on that down below in the description box if you want to support the channel at the WrestleRant All Access Pass channel membership tier. I'm losing my voice here today. I don't know if that's from the Knicks win the other day or what it's from, but I apologize for that. Anyway, if you want to support the channel at the WrestleRant All Access Pass channel tier, you can do that down below. At the very least, though, if you want to like this video, subscribe, turn on notifications, all that stuff is greatly appreciated as well. If you want to send in a question to this show, you can also do so by tweeting me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Facebook as well, facebook.com/Graham.GSM.Matthews. I usually put up the post on Monday nights. You put up the question on that post on Monday nights, if not on the wall itself. Last but certainly not least, include your question down below in the comment section on this very video. After the video is done processing, I'll include your question in next week's edition. Excuse me. So let's get going here with the chat. Drop a question in the chat. I will also answer it as we go along here. Fernando, what's going on, brother? This is Good Morning WrestleRant. He says, as well, hell is frozen over. The New York Knicks are the NBA 2026 champions. Indeed. Indeed. We have Danhausen partially to thank for that as well, for uncursing the Knicks. So thank you, Danhausen. I know the parade for the Knicks is on Thursday in New York City, which is pretty cool. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. I will not be in New York that day, obviously, for that, but I'm just saying keep an eye on it on social media. It should be fun to follow. Fernando said, do you think Triple H is going out of his way to justify the decision to make a main eventer out of Jey Uso? That's a good question. I think that could be a small part of it. I mean, a lot of it comes down to Jey is still really popular. The other part of it, I think currently as to why they're really aggressively pushing Jey as a main eventer, is that it's all bloodline related. It's all bloodline related. They want this championship in the bloodline. They want these members of the bloodline chasing championships. I think it honestly has less to do with Jey and more to do with the group. Now, I don't know why it couldn't have been fucking Jacob Fatu in that spot. You could have had him win King of the Ring and go on to win the entire tournament and then challenge Roman again at SummerSlam, which would have been dumb after having just lost to Roman the first 2 times. Why not just have him win it the first 2 times? But regardless, if that's the story they want to tell with Jey Uso facing either Roman Reigns again or Cody Rhodes, they could have done that with Jacob. You could have done Jacob and Roman again at SummerSlam and finally have Jacob win. Or have Jacob go after Cody Rhodes. Those two still have unfinished business from earlier this year and have Jacob win the WWE Championship from Cody Rhodes. There was a lot of different directions they could have gone, and instead, it seems like they're going in one of the least interesting directions possible, with Jey Uso potentially winning the entire King of the Ring. So again, I think it has less to do with like Triple H trying to prove himself right as like, yeah, Jey Uso's a real main eventer. I don't think Triple H has ever looked at Jey Uso, in my personal opinion, based on how Jey Uso has been booked, as a perennial main event player. I think he saw him as someone who holds the championship for a month or two because he's really, really over. You capitalize on that momentum, because I'm not saying Jey Uso should not have won the World Championship last year. He should have. He did. It was great. But he only did hold the championship for like 6 weeks. And now, granted, he did get other championship shots in the remainder of the year, but for the most part, he was kind of slotted at the upper mid-card level, which is kind of where he is now. I don't think even if he wins King of the Ring, he's walking out of SummerSlam with a World Championship, nor should he, in my personal opinion. Too early for that. Don't even know if we need Jey Uso as world champion again, but I don't know. It's an interesting direction they're going in the sense that it's not interesting, so I'm not really sure why they're doing it, aside from the fact they have bloodline obsession. Fernando said, who did Jacob beat up last night? Is he really famous? Should I know who he is? I mean, he's definitely famous. I'm not saying you should know who he is. It kind of depends on what you watch. I know Eric Andre. I actually met Eric Andre at Raw last year, Madison Square Garden. I was walking to my seat, and I was leaving like this Netflix VIP lounge thing that I was invited to. He was there. Michael Che from SNL. Got a picture with him. He was really cool. Got a picture with Gabriel Iglesias, Fluffy, the comedian. But also Eric Andre. He was on his way to his seat, and I got a picture with him before he went to go sit down, which was sick. He's also in the new Street Fighter movie with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. So I think they may have been there. He may have been there to plug that. I skipped through the Bloodline entrance, so they probably mentioned that while the Bloodline walked past them the first time on their way to the ring. They probably plugged that, and I missed it. But he's also a wrestling fan. He could take a beating. He's been in movies with John Cena before. He had his own talk show at one point. I'm not saying he's like an A-list celebrity, but he's definitely a familiar face, at least as far as some of the stuff that I've seen him in, and he's really funny. I actually also remember a minor role that he had in fucking Ironheart, of all shows, last summer. The Marvel series that was only 6 episodes, and they kind of threw it out there because no one really watched it. He was actually a minor character in that show, which is funny as well. Fernando said, did you hear the reports that WWE's front office thinks that Jey Uso is a better performer than LA Knight? I don't know where you saw that report. I have not seen that. Not saying it's not true. Not saying it is true. I just have not seen it. So unless that came out in the last like hour or so, it depends on where you're reading that. I don't know if that's necessarily true. Do I think they think that Jey Uso is a better performer than LA Knight? I don't know of anyone with a working pair of eyes in that company can honestly tell you that Jey Uso is a better all-around performer than LA Knight. Do I think they view Jey Uso higher than LA Knight? Yes, absolutely. I mean, just based on the fact that Jey Uso is a former world champion, has won the Royal Rumble, has won the IC Championship twice, or just once, really. A lot of tag titles. All the success that Jey Uso has had, that LA Knight has not had in his last several years in WWE, can just outright tell you that they view Jey Uso higher than LA Knight. I don't know if they actually think he's a better performer. They just value Jey Uso more than they do LA Knight. A lot of chats here. Appreciate all the activity. We will get to that soon enough. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Fernando also said, I'm not watching SummerSlam if we get Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns. Nope. Can't say I blame you, Fernando. That match does absolutely fuck all for me. I mean, it wasn't even really overly great when they did it the last time in 2023. To do it again and for a world championship? Fuck no. Why couldn't they have just done that, like, to finally give Jey Uso a win one-on-one over Roman Reigns? Why could they not have just done that as a non-title match without Roman Reigns being the world heavyweight champion? Assuming that's even the direction they're going. They might not be. But if they do, and that's the idea, why would they not just do that as a non-title match outside of the world title picture? That does not need the world championship. Jey Uso's already been world champion. It's not as if he's proving something to Roman if he beats him for a world title. Jey Uso's already been world champion. We've already gotten that moment. And Jey Uso also right now comes across like a complete asshole. So it's not even going to have the same effect that the WrestleMania 41 win did about a year ago. Nathaniel, what's going on, dude? He said, the Knicks won the championship. Now I hope the Yankees win the World Series. You know, it's kind of crazy. I thought about this a lot, that the Yankees for a long time were considered a dynasty. Yet they have not won a World Series, I think, since 2009. Now, that's not 50 years, but that is well over 15 years ago. I don't know if the Yankees stink nowadays. I mean, they don't stink as much as the fucking Mets, I can tell you that. Or even the Red Sox do some seasons. But it is interesting that the Yankees were considered so dominant for so long to the point where even John Cena got offended when CM Punk called them the New York Yankees 15 years ago. They have not won a World Series. Since that promo, the New York Yankees have not won a World Series. So it's interesting. Nathaniel said, hey, Graham, did you like Roman turning heel, even though the fans will still cheer him? Was that even a heel turn? Did he ever turn babyface? You know, was Roman Reigns ever a full-fledged babyface? I would argue no. Is he a heel right now? We have no idea. Honestly, it's such a weird, odd character dynamic. I don't know if they want us to cheer him. I don't know if they want us to boo him. I think they just want people to react however they're going to react. I don't think they're going for a specific reaction, which can have positives and that can have negatives. But when it gets to the bloodline vortex, when it comes to that sort of stuff, it's not that good, because that just means bloodline overall, and it doesn't really matter if you're a heel or a face, will just dominate you regardless. We're kind of going back to those days from a few years ago. Nathaniel said, Paige and Bree are facing Bayley and Lyra next week for the tag titles. I'm not sure if Paige and Bree are losing, though. I don't think so. I still think Paige and Bree are ultimately losing the tag titles to Fatal Influence. I know they did that match on SmackDown. It was a non-title match, and Paige and Bree won. I don't know why they even did the match if Paige and Bree were going to win. That seemed pretty fucking pointless to me. It wasn't even a title match. I still think the belts will ultimately end up on Fatal Influence. I don't think Bayley and Lyra will win those tag titles. They probably should. I mean, Bayley and Lyra have been a team for so long now. They have great chemistry. Realistically, they should have won the tag titles at WrestleMania, but Paige came back. They wanted to put the belts on her. Okay, whatever. But yeah, we'll see what happens next Monday. Daniel is indeed joining us today. His profile picture, to be fair, has always been the New York Knicks logo. So Daniel has been an OG fan here on the channel. He said, yeah, Nando was doubting us. He's asking where Nike Fan is at. Hopefully Nike Fan does show up today. I mean, come on, man. Nike Fan, you got to live up to your promise. You got to live up to your end of the bet. Eric, what's going on, my man? He said, I think Dom in the Bank is happening this year. I could see it. It kind of really feels like they've cooled off Dom considerably. And I'm not just saying that because he got squashed by Oba last night. He should have. But I'm just going off of, like, he lost the feud with Finn Balor, which I think he should have as well. He's still the AAA Mega Championship. I don't give a fuck about that belt. That really does nothing for me. He lost the Intercontinental Championship. He was injured for several months. They really have done nothing with Dom meaningfully since he beat John Cena to win back the IC Championship back in Survivor Series. That was over 7 months ago. So, yeah, I mean, they might be cooling him off. I'm not saying this is intentional, but one way to heat him back up would be to put that briefcase on him. I don't think it's LA Knight. I know we've been talking about LA Knight as Mr. Money in the Bank for like 3 or 4 years now. I also don't think this is the year either. The year that I think it's not going to happen is probably when it will happen. But Dom is Mr. Money in the Bank. I think that's a great gimmick that would fit him very well. Nathaniel just said he just saw the Shrek 5 trailer. So did I before we went live here. I also watched the trailer. It looks fine. I still don't understand why they changed the animation style. That just seems unnecessary to me. Like, I don't know if they want to make it more modern or they just can't recreate the original style because DreamWorks has changed since then, because it has been 17 years. I mean, 16 years this year, 17 years by next year when the movie comes out, since the last one. So I'm not even sure if they could do the same style. I'm sure they can. I'm sure they can. They probably just wanted to switch it up for the sake of being newer. And again, the movie was supposed to come out like now. It would have been out already, I think. I think it was supposed to be out in May, but they bumped it back like a year and a half. And I think they bumped it back for like plot reasons. People had speculated. I mean, it was a pretty drastic delay. And when they put up that first teaser a year or so ago, it was still the same animation style. So some people had hope that, I don't think they drastically tweaked it from that teaser a year ago. I think it's still the same animation style, but a different either set of characters or a different plot, whatever it is. Anyway, there was the hope when they delayed the movie after that teaser came out that maybe they would tweak the animation style back to what it was, because like the new animation style just looked uncanny, you know? Clearly not, because they watched the new trailer and it's still the same animation, I believe. But anyway, I will probably go see it just because I saw all the other ones. But it does not like talking about like cake and stuff like that and like making butt jokes. I don't know, man. It's the same thing like with Scary Movie, where I'm not saying you can't make a movie that was as great. They actually both came out the same year, 2001, I believe. I think Scary Movie 1 and Shrek 1 both came out in the same year, which is crazy. I'm not saying you can't do that style of humor in 2026. You can. You just have to do it right. And I saw the new Scary Movie over the weekend. It was fucking awful. It was horrendous. Not funny at all, really, for the most part. It was exactly what I thought it would be. A quick cash grab, a lot of stupid jokes, forcing references just for the sake of forcing references to let you know that it's 2026 and it's been over a decade since the last Scary Movie, blah, blah, blah. Really bad. I think the Shrek thing might be more like cringy type of humor, like, oh, 6'7", like dumb shit like that, you know? Just to tell you that it's a more modern movie, and I don't know who the fuck they have writing this stuff other than AI. That's what I kind of fear from Shrek 5, but I'll probably go see it regardless and see how it is next June. Daniel said, absolutely, Brunson is a Hall of Famer. Yeah, I mean, after how he played in those several games, and he really carried, I mean, the Knicks were a great team, but like Brunson specifically carried that team. I think he got like, 45 out of he got almost half of the points scored for the Knicks. I think in that most recent game or the game before that, I had seen the stat. It was like, that's crazy. They maybe had scored like 90 points total. Brunson got like 45 of those points, or close to it, which is insane. Fernando said, with Dom already very successful in WWE, if his sister can follow in her brother's and father's footsteps, and if their kids can also get into wrestling, can we see a Mysterio family bloodline in the future? Like an on-air faction? No. Ray's going to be done very, very soon. I think Ray might be done before Aaliyah ever even makes her WWE television in-ring debut. I think Aaliyah just started full-time training. I think Ray might be done by the time that she eventually makes it to television. Dom is training for a few years before he finally debuted in the ring on WWE television. And honestly, I think it was because of Dom why Ray stayed. Had it not been for Dominic Mysterio, I do wholeheartedly believe Rey Mysterio would have left WWE in like 2020, 2019 to go to fucking AEW. Like, he came back to WWE in 2018, but he only signed a 1.5 year long contract. And I thought that was interesting, like a 1.5 year, like an 18-month contract where he had an out clause and he could leave if he wanted to. And honestly, his booking for the first 1.5 years that he was back was pretty fucking garbage. So had it not been for Dom, he probably would have been gone. He probably would have left. Because he did work that first All In show back in 2018, lest we forget. So I think the fact that he was like, hey, if you train my son, I'll stay. And that's exactly what happened. And thankfully, they made the right choice. It was a nepotism thing, but Dom ended up turning out to be a real success story. Anyway, I don't think we're getting a Mysterio family bloodline. Obviously, Eddie's not even technically related to the Mysterios, so it's not as if you can even count the Guerreros with the Mysterios. It's only Ray, Dom, maybe Aaliyah. We don't even know if she's going to stick it through. We don't know if they're going to have kids, Dom's kids and Aaliyah's kids and whatever. No, I don't think we're getting a Mysterio family bloodline in the future, but it's cool that she's at least giving it a shot. I don't know why now and not like years ago when she was first involved with the product. Maybe she wanted to go, finish college first or whatever. I don't know how old she is now. Probably late 20s if I had to take a guess. Anyway, Richie's here saying, he said, what's up, y'all? Fernando said, I forgot to ask you last week, what are your thoughts on the public comments Road Dogg made about working in creative? I think I had seen some of them. Did he just say it was tough? You got to give me specifics on what he said exactly. I don't remember. I don't pay attention to every Road Dogg interview that he does nowadays, but honestly, whatever he said probably was not inaccurate. As far as, I think he just said it was stressful, and all the blame goes to like Road Dogg. Like we joke about Road Dogg having awful ideas. I don't think he's completely in sync with the product or completely up to date or in tune or, in touch, so to speak. I think that's the word that I'm looking for. But he doesn't deserve all of the blame. Like I think the writers have a lot of good ideas that kind of go unheard, or there's a lot of things to balance. So yeah, I didn't see his specific comments, but honestly, whatever he said probably wasn't that stupid. To be honest, he probably made a lot of good points just based on other stuff that I've seen him say before. Noob, what's going on, my man? Asking how I'm doing today. I'm doing all right. Thank you for asking, Noob. Hope you're doing good as well. Daniel said, the parade on Thursday is about to be absurd. I'm sure it is. I had seen a tweet. I think it was obviously a joke, but it was someone like pretending to email their boss saying that they're taking the entire week off. Like Monday, thinking about the Knicks. Tuesday, I forgot why they would take Tuesday off, but like Wednesday, still thinking about the Knicks. Thursday, parade, obviously got to attend that. Friday, Juneteenth, to get that off anyway. So really the whole week I have off, and I'll be back next week. I thought that was funny. My feed is entirely Knicks stuff at this point on Twitter, which I am not complaining. It's amazing. Richie said, this LA Knight nonsense is enough. The fact that he's getting not buried by the blood, which LA Knight nonsense is enough? The fact that he's, getting kind of overshadowed by Jey and all this other stuff. You got to let me know what you're in referencing there, Mr. Richie. He said, I just saw the Furious movie, incredible movie, Eric said. Yeah, I'm not going to see the Furious. I get that mixed up with the Pressure movie that Brendan Fraser's in. Are they both war movies? I'm not really a big war movie fan. That stuff doesn't really interest me, to be honest with you. But I'm sure it's a good movie. I do actually want to see, kind of. If I don't see it, I think it's fine. I am curious to see Disclosure Day. So I might either see that today or tomorrow. Maybe. I might not. I'm definitely seeing Toy Story this weekend. And I'm definitely seeing Supergirl next weekend. So I might see Disclosure Day, but we'll see. Noob said, Danhausen just uncursed the Knicks. I wonder what other sports teams Danhausen can uncurse. I can see him uncursing one of the Chicago sports teams, maybe the Chicago Bears. I would love to see him uncurse the Bulls. So funny question, actually. I actually asked Danhausen that question. I interviewed him very briefly over WrestleMania weekend. The interview is not up here on the channel. It's just I've been fucking busy as shit. I will upload it at some point, I promise. Eventually. But I asked him, spoiler alert, what sport teams he would uncurse. And I thought he was from Chicago for some reason, because I know he's close with Punk. He's actually not from Chicago, but I had said the Bulls, maybe they hadn't won the championship in 30 years. But he did say the Detroit Lions. So I know the Lions have done well in recent years, but he still uncursed the Lions. So we'll see how far that uncursing goes for the Detroit Lions. We'll see their upcoming season. Daniel said, thank you, Danhausen, a.k.a. Nickhausen, a.k.a. Champhausen. Nathaniel said, imagine if Danhausen is at the next parade. I think he is. I think WFAN had already invited him and is an honorary guest of WFAN radio, which is awesome. So I think he will be there tomorrow. Nathaniel said, is the Yankees still the biggest franchise in New York City? That's not a question for me. That's a question for Grant Matthews and the other sports fans here in the chat. I would say so. I think the Yankees are still the biggest. They haven't won a title since 2009, but I still think they are the biggest sports franchise in New York. Maybe the Jets. Maybe the Jets or the Giants. Maybe the Giants. I don't know. That's a good question, though. Definitely more so than the. It might be the Knicks at this point. I don't know. Definitely more so than the Mets. I'll tell you that. Richie said earlier. Let me backtrack here. Damn, a lot of chats. Let's see. Richie said Jey Uso more like Jey Buso. Am I right? Hey, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, Richie. It is more like Jey Buso. He might get booed if he beats Obafemi in Night of Champions. It's pretty fucking dumb if they do that, but I have a sinking suspicion that's exactly what they're going to do. Eric said, I love that not even Danhausen wanted that Oba smoke. Yeah, on Raw last night, I thought the segment with Danhausen and Liv Morgan was really well done. I thought that was funny. Him calling her Olivia and her trying to, like, seduce him and him having, like, no part of it. It was really funny. Daniel said, Richie's been annoying me lately, but that's probably by design. It might be, but again, I don't know. I don't know if they're supposed to be heels or baby faces. I'm not even really sure if they fucking know, so he has been a very annoying character. I mean, people will tell you he's been annoying for a while, but we'll talk about that with the Jey Uso fatigue a little bit later on with a question that was asked from social media. Eric said, why doesn't Jimmy ever get singles titles opportunities? Because he doesn't have yeet as a catchphrase. He's not as over as Jey on his own. Jimmy's also not even that great. Jimmy's a better worker, I would say, overall than Jey. They're not drastically different in the ring. They are two very similar wrestlers in the ring. When Jimmy was on his own, even last year, I thought they might put the fucking United States Championship on him. Jey Uso, I got why they gave him the IC belt. That I had no issue with that. I thought that was fine. Jimmy as a character on his own has never been interesting. Jey Uso was never interesting until the Bloodline. The Bloodline also made Jimmy more interesting, but I've never seen Jimmy as, like, put a singles belt on him. I got it with Jey. I got it with Solo. I get it with Fatu, with Roman, obviously. I've never understood that with Jimmy. Maybe in 2015 when he was on Total Divas being like a clown and he was funny and stuff. But beyond that, I've never really seen the singles appeal with Jey. So he's also just not that interesting. So I don't really care to see Jimmy as, like, this United States Championship contender or whatever. Noob asked or said, I guess Roman Reigns is not a fan of Eric Andre because he's not funny. I think Eric Andre is funny. I guess Roman Reigns doesn't find him funny. Probably, maybe they had heat on the set of Street Fighter, and that's why he ordered that attack on him last night on Raw. Nathaniel said, imagine if Liv and Danhausen started flirting with each other. They will not, because Danhausen clearly wanted no part of it last night. He was completely oblivious to what Liv was doing. So, Liv? There you go, there's a pun. No, I don't think they're going to start flirting. Also, Danhausen is married. I think that's still, that might be still his pinned tweet on Twitter. I could be wrong, though. Daniel said, as much as I am elated the Knicks won, kind of glad the series is over. Navigating New York City the last 3 games with all the blocked off streets, extra police presence, and the Orange Man, all of it was exhausting. I'm sure, especially with the Orange Man in attendance on for Game 3. I know, the blocking of all the traffic and all that other nonsense was pretty bad, I was told. So I completely understand that. Eric said, LA does have a United States title run. Correct. He was United States champion twice. I mean, the second time he only held it for a month. I love the first United States championship run that he had, but objectively speaking, Jey Uso has been way more successful. If you want to go by championships, he's been way more successful than LA Knight has ever been. Granted, LA Knight or Jey Uso has about a 10-year head start on LA Knight, but I mean, Jey Uso did only really start breaking out around the time LA Knight was brought into the company. So they're kind of even as far as like tenure, as far as singles runs and stuff like that. Daniel said, why am I now keeping an eye out for a Nike fan appearance like he's Tyreek? Because he owes you money. I mean, that's why you got to keep an eye out for him. Noob said, while Knicks fans cursed mayhem in New York after Knicks won the NBA Finals, while Japanese fans, they cleaned up themselves. You don't know the Japanese 1v. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You talking about the World Cup, Noob? The Japanese and the Netherlands? I'm not paying attention to the World Cup, so I have no idea what you're talking about. Richie said, Roman going back to his previous role when I feel that run. Let me backtrack here. Richie said, Roman going back to his previous role when I feel that's run its course is insane. Felt that he could have been better suited as a tweener, but here we are with a reboot of the OG Bloodline plus Jacob. Yeah, I completely agree. There really is nothing different about it. It is very much same old hat with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. There's really nothing interesting about the new twist because it's not even like, oh, is this person going to break off and attack Roman like Jey? Like we always thought Jey would break off from the Bloodline, and he did. But they've told that story. Even Jacob going after Roman, they've told that story. You know, even if the story is that Jacob lost to Roman twice and he's going to go back after Roman Reigns, we already saw that story with Jey. You could have just had Jacob beat Roman the first 2 times they faced off. Why delay the inevitable if that's even where we're going? I completely agree, though. There's nothing interesting about this bloodline at all. It's just the same thing. Roman kind of not really having a full character evolution. Jacob taking a step backward. Jimmy and especially Jey taking a step backwards in this group. It's just, what are we doing? Noob said, Fatal Influence won the WWE Women's Tag Titles at SummerSlam. Or, you mean they should win the tag titles at SummerSlam? I mean, I would probably put the belts on them before then, personally, but, I mean, that would be fun. I guess SummerSlam's in another 7 weeks. Johnny, what's going on, my man? He said, Dream Anarchy in the Arena. Don Callis family versus the Bloodline and the MFTs. Absolutely fucking not. That sounds terrible. Johnny said, Go New York, go. He's a big New York fan. Johnny says he cares about the AAA title. It is my favorite title today. Liar. You are a liar, Johnny. I call you a liar. Nathaniel said, do you think Puss in Boots should be in Shrek 5? I think he probably would be. Was he not in Shrek 4? I know he has his own movies, but like, I don't know. To continue the canon of that character, I'm not sure if they're doing another Puss in Boots movie. So, yeah, I think he should be in Shrek 5. Why not? Richie said, nah, Shrek 5 looks so ugly. We should have bullied DreamWorks like we did to Paramount to change Sonic's ugly design. I thought we did. That's what I thought was happening. I thought it got delayed because they were changing back the design. I thought they did get bullied to changing the design back or tweaking the design. They didn't. They only may have changed the plot. They didn't change the design. If they changed the design, they might have to delay the movie again. I mean, realistically, they should have already changed the design. We should bully them more. At this point, I don't think they care. They're like, we're giving you Shrek 5. This is what it's going to look like, and you're going to deal with it. Johnny asked, will you watch House of the Dragon this Sunday? No. I do watch videos on it to kind of keep tabs on the show. I've never watched the show. I've never even watched a single episode of Game of Thrones. I have no interest. That sort of stuff does not interest me. But a YouTube channel that I do follow covers all the Game of Thrones stuff. I mean, it's not their whole YouTube channel. It's just a subsection of what they review. And I watch the videos in House of the Dragon. So I kind of have an idea of what's going on in the show. Would I watch the show itself? Probably not. No. Do I think they should make a Scary Movie 7? Absolutely not. The 6th one was awful. It might have been the worst one they've ever done. I have not seen the 5th one, but still. Richie said there's an opportunity to have an unrated Blu-ray home release of Scary Movie 6 and call it Scary Movie 6-7. I said that last week with Toy Story, Richie. I mean, I know you were here when we talked about that, but genuinely, I think that there's going to come a point where it's either Toy Story or Scary Movie, or they will try to incorporate the 6-7 meme into the title, and it's going to be so... I mean, the 6-7 meme is already out of date, but they're going to try to do that then, and it's going to be like, oh, it's funny, it's edgy, and it's going to be so cringy. Give it time. It will happen. Like, we joke about it, but that will happen at some point, I promise you. Johnny said Jordan had done the same in 98. Yeah, Jordan's one of the GOATs. There you go. Talking about the points thing where he, like, picked up half of the points for his team. I know that because I watched The Last Dance. I was actually out to eat on my birthday a few weeks ago, and the place that I went to, for whatever reason, was airing The Last Dance on one of the screens. I don't know why. I don't know if it was airing on ESPN or something, but I'm like, oh, I almost fucking sat down and watched it again. Daniel said, 45 points in the last game. The only other person to have ever done that was Michael Jordan. That's elite company. That's fucking nuts. That is elite company. And Jalen Brunson, how old is Jalen Brunson? No, he was at SmackDown a few years ago. He's not that old. Jalen Brunson is 29. Okay, so he's not like 24 like Wemby, but he's still, he's still pretty young. He's got a bright future ahead of him for sure. That's good to see. Anyway, Noob said, I'm definitely going to see Shrek 5, but I'll regret it because next year I'm looking forward to seeing Sonic 4. Sonic 4 comes out next year, I'll probably see that too, because all the other movies were good. I mean, I think it's another unnecessary sequel, but the other 3 movies were good, so why not? And I will also very likely see Shrek 5, even though it's probably going to be ass. Richie said, Ray, I've had surgery 15 times in my left knee. Mysterio is going to be done soon. That's I know exactly what you're talking about when you say that. With the, I've had surgery 15 times in my left knee. Yet this is the same guy that's out there like he had just taken a drink from the fountain of youth. I mean, I'm sure he will be done in the next year or two. They will probably have a big PLE in Mexico. I know they're going to Mexico for a tour later this year. I don't think Ray's wrapping up this year. If I had to guess, he will be done next year. They'll do a big PLE in Mexico. He'll probably face Dom one more time or team with him or whatever, and he'll retire after that. Just based on stuff he has said and what he said to me when I interviewed him about 2 years ago, he made it, like, he literally said, I'll be done in the next 3 years. Like, he didn't say, oh, in the foreseeable future, 10 years, next year. He said 3 years, and I thought, that's interesting. Maybe that's when his deal is up or something. I'm not sure. But I think he'll probably be done by next year if I had to guess. Eric talking about the Tongans aren't in the family. They're not. Technically, they're not either. Johnny said, Dan, would you say Brunson is the best Nick player of all time? Daniel responded saying, Brunson won a high school chip, 2 NCAA chips, and now an NBA chip. Dude is just a winner. I mean, honestly, he's got I don't know if he's the best Nick player of all time, but that definitely adds to his legacy or case for sure. Let me backtrack here. A lot of chats. Appreciate you guys tuning in and joining in today. I will get to everything, I promise. Aaliyah is only 24. She'll be 25 on August 20th. Okay, so she's still pretty young. Dom was around that age. No, he was around that age when he started on TV. Dom is 30 now, I think. I think Dom is currently 30. No, actually, he's 29. I just did a whole article about, like, top 13 under 30 in WWE and AEW. And he is 29, which means that he debuted in WWE in the main roster when he was 23 or 22. So Aaliyah's getting started a lot later than Dom is. We'll see how she does. Nathaniel said, I'm seeing Toy Story on Tuesday. Next Tuesday? Probably. I'm hoping to see it on Friday. I'll be busy Saturday. I'll be busy Sunday. I really don't want to wait to see it, so I'm probably seeing it Friday night. Give me back shots, Marceau. What's going on, brother? He said, hi, Chad. Hi, Graham. Congrats, Knicks. Congrats, Knicks, indeed. What's going on, I almost said Mr. Marceau. Congrats, Knicks, indeed, and also welcome. Give me back shots at Mr. Marceau. He also said, might need to change Nike's name from Nike fan to Nike fraud if he doesn't show up and pay Dan. Yeah, indeed. He's got to show up and pay Dan. He made a bet. You make a bet, you got to live up to it. I might have to ban the guy. I mean, he sent in questions for today's show. He mentioned nothing about the Knicks, interestingly enough. Mr. Nike fan. I know you're watching. I know you're listening. You might not be in the chat, but you owe Mr. Daniel Malcolm $25. You can't make a bet that your ass can't cash. Fernando said, what does Dom need to do to be considered a greater star than Ray? He won't be. He just won't be. Dom is not better than Rey Mysterio. That is completely fucking nonsense for anyone to honestly even believe that. Dom is very good. Dom has had a lot of success. Dom could and probably should be a world champion at some point. Dominic Mysterio, for so many reasons, is not his father. He will never have that sort of appeal that his father does. He will never have the legacy that his father does. Also, in terms of wrestling all over the world, the collection of matches that Ray did, also kind of incorporating Lucha Libre here in the States. Dom's not doing that. He can't even really do that, even if he wanted to. He will never be better than his father. Ray might disagree. Dom might disagree. You might disagree. That's just complete blasphemy to even think that Dom will ever be better than his father or ever surpass his father as far as being a bigger star. Johnny said Millie's going to do the Superwoman punch. Talking about Millie Alcock and Supergirl. Yeah, she might. We'll see. Eric said, okay, so Furious is about a dad whose daughter and another guy's wife is taken by the Yakuza. Interesting. Sounds like Taken. Sounds like a Liam Neeson movie. Yankees got 27 or 28 World Series. World Series wins? The Yankees have won that many World Series? That's crazy. But the fact they still have not won, though, in over 15 years, I mean, I'm not saying the Yankees suck, but I'm like, okay. That's like saying, okay, yeah, Hogan was fucking, a 12-time WWE champion. Yeah, 20 years ago. Well, granted, this is different. That's one person. That we're talking about a team here. Like, teams don't age out, but you always replace them with newer players. It's not like Babe Ruth is still alive and playing on the fucking Yankees, you know what I mean? At some point, they got to get better and win a World Series, and that just hasn't happened yet. Daniel said it would definitely not be the Jets. He also said, most New Yorkers are usually Yankee Giants fans, Jets, Mets, or the little brother, but still have a strong fan base. Yeah, I know a lot of Mets fans. A lot of people in my family are Mets fans. Knicks are the team where a majority are fans of them over the Nets, and it's not even close. Yeah, that seems to be the general consensus from what I have seen, that a lot more people are Knicks fans over Nets fans. I do have a Nets shirt, a Brooklyn Nets shirt, that is Survivor Series themed from when they were at the Barclays Center in 2021. And Michael Che saw that. He was actually almost offended that I was wearing that shirt because he was more of a Knicks fan. But I still like the shirt, though. Daniel said, people from Brooklyn barely rock with the Nets and are still Knicks fans, LOL. Interesting insight. So I guess the Nets aren't good. The Knicks weren't good for, all that long either. For a while either, they were also not that good from what I understand. But it sounds like the Knicks have always had a stronger fan base than the Nets. You don't really hear a lot of people talk about the Nets. Total Divas Jimmy Uso was peak. I agree, Richie. He was amazing on that show. Jeremy said, fun fact about LA Knight. Jeremy, first of all, thank you for joining. Second of all, he said, fun fact about LA Knight. He is from my hometown and actually threw out the first pitch at a Little League game on Saturday. Oh, that's pretty cool. I know they were, you talking about Maryland? Jeremy, are you from Maryland? I know LA Knight is from Maryland. Like, he talks a lot about living in LA, and obviously his name is LA Knight, but I think he grew up in Maryland. Hagerstown, is that not where he's from? I don't know, he's not billed from there anymore, but I think he's specifically from Hagerstown. And he talked about being from Maryland last night on Raw. But that's cool that he was that he threw out the first pitch at a Little League game on Saturday. Probably near you. That's pretty sick. Or near your hometown, anyway. Tannhausen ain't no Simphausen. Goddamn right, Richie. Jeremy said, with Raw being in the NXT, I can't fucking read. With Raw being in the UK next week, and with Logan Paul returning to TV last night, do you think Joe Hendry returns next week to prevent Logan from interfering in the Vision versus Street Profits tag title match? He should. If they knew what they were doing, they would bring back Joe Hendry next week on that show, and that would be exactly what happens. Don't know if that's going to happen, but that should be what happens, because why would Logan Paul be back right now otherwise? So, yes, that should be exactly what they do. Nathaniel said, I think Roman should still lose the world title at SummerSlam, but to who? Maybe Oba. If not, I'm not sure about Seth. No thanks to Seth. I don't need Seth. I don't need Seth getting another world title run. He got the world title in 2023. He held it into 2024. He won it again in 2025. We do not need Seth again as world champion in 2026. That would be fucking awful. Roman really should be losing that belt to one of three people. Oba, Breaker, or Fatu. Doesn't look like any of those are happening, but that really should be who he loses that belt to at SummerSlam. Arguably, he should have already lost it to Jacob Fatu, but they're not doing that, of course. Nathaniel said, I think WWE is waiting for Nikki Bella to return to take the tag titles off of Paige and Brie Bella, but how long is she out? First of all, I hope not. And second of all, maybe. And third of all, I don't know when she's coming back. I'm not sure. I think it was not that serious, but then she said it was that serious, like basically her ankle exploded or some shit. I don't know what the fuck's going on there. Give me backshots, Marceau said, if Jacob never recovers from this, that photo of him kneeling before Roman will live in infamy. Yes, you are absolutely right. That is so fucking dumb. Even now, I mean, even if he does recover, that photo of him kneeling before Roman is still stupid. The fact that we're even doing this is dumb. Fernando said, is the decision to push Jey Uso instead of Jimmy similar to why Jeff Hardy was pushed a lot more than Matt? Yes, actually, you know what, Fernando? That is a great comparison. It is. Jey Uso just has that certain charisma. Honestly, though, here's the difference. Here's the thing. I don't know. I wasn't watching WWE in the early 2000s. I think people always kind of knew if the Hardys ever broke up that Jeff would be the breakout star. Now, I could be wrong, but I feel like people always looked at Jeff as the breakout star because he just had that rock star vibe about him. Matt was always the better worker. Matt was always the better promo. Matt was probably a better all-around professional wrestler and more of a complete package. But Jey just had that certain, or Jey too, but Jeff just had that certain vibe about him. Like, oh man, I can't help but root for him. The only way that's not similar to the Usos is that I never got that vibe from Jey on his own, or rather, before he was on his own, while he was with the Usos. The breakout star to me, I never thought the Usos should have ever been broken up, to be fair. But if they were, I always thought Jimmy would be the bigger breakout star. He's married to Naomi. You could pair those two together as baby faces, as heels. Jimmy's was always very entertaining on Total Divas, like I said earlier. He always felt like, to me, he would be the breakout star. So with the Hardys, it felt like it would always be Jeff. People always looked at Jeff as that guy, even though Matt was more solid and more well-rounded as a performer, that Jeff would always be the guy of the two to win a world championship because he was just so fucking over. Jey, it's not as if Jey was ever over on as part of the Usos and he did single stuff. It's like, oh yeah, we need Jey as world champion. No one thought that until the Bloodline stuff happened. So Jey was really supported by two things: the Bloodline story and the Yeet catchphrase. You take those things away, Jey and Jimmy are a lot more comparable. But that is a great comparison, though. I do think Jey is to Jimmy as Jeff is to Matt. Now, I do think there's a difference there, like I said. I think people always looked at Jeff as being a breakout star. I don't think anyone ever saw that with Jey. Jey needed to be supported by the story and the catchphrase stuff. But he is the Jeff Hardy to Jimmy Uso's Matt Hardy in 2026, most definitely. Nathaniel said, I thought Toy Story, let me backtrack. I thought Toy Story should have ended at 3 or 4. How about you? I agree. Definitely 3. If not at 4. I just rewatched 4 the other day. It's a great movie. It's definitely weaker than the other 3. The other 3 are just so much better. 4 is still a very good movie with a great ending. And it should have ended there. But it didn't. So it makes me wonder how they're going to end 5. Are they just all going to die or something? Like, how else can you top the ending of 3 and 4? Richie said, oh yeah, I made the snake in my Gia comment and regretted my life choices. Yes, I think we all lost brain cells when we made that joke last week, Richie. Emmanuel said, hello. Emmanuel, what's going on, my man? Thank you for joining. Richie said, to infinity and Gia. Rolls off the tongue better. It does. I could see them incorporating that into the next movie. Maybe not this one, but in a few years, I could see it. If only for the memes, I suppose. Give me backshots, Marceau. Brunson also sacrificed $113 million to help build the team. He might be the greatest Nick ever now. Well, there you go. If it wasn't already official, for that reason alone, that's crazy. So Daniel said later on, he said, Brunson is definitely a top 3 Nick and not 3. I almost know nothing, contrary to popular belief, I don't know a ton about basketball history. I'm trying to do more history, more research, because I'm honestly fascinated by it. Would number 1, Daniel, be Patrick Ewing? Is he the best Knicks player of all time? I know he was on the Knicks. I know he's a legendary Knicks player. Is it Patrick is who you're talking about? Brunson might ultimately surpass him one day. He might have already surpassed him. I don't know, especially based on that stat that Give Me Backshots just gave us. He's given Marceau backshots, and he's given me stats. But is it Patrick Ewing? Is he the greatest Knicks player of all time, or is it someone else? Emmanuel said, Sonic has a lot of complicated lore, so sequels will be interesting. That is what I've heard. There's a lot of stuff they can pull from the games and all this other, material. So they will make many, many, many movies. As long as they do well financially, and all 3 of them have, and the fact that they're received well also helps, they will keep making the movies. I've never been the biggest Sonic fan, but I've enjoyed the movies. I did play some of his games growing up. I was way more into Mario and stuff like that. Jeremy said, in my opinion, WWE should give Chad Gable a remix of Kurt Angle's 2006 ECW theme. I know exactly what song you're talking about. They edited the song. He only briefly used it because he left the company in the summer of 2006. It's a great song, though. It was a great babyface song because it took out the da-dun, da-dun. And I know that's iconic, but they took that out so people weren't chanting "you suck" at him while he was a babyface, which I thought was smart. I would love if he used, maybe not that straight up song, but bro, even the American Alpha song gives off more Angle vibes than whatever shit they gave him on Monday. I'm sorry, I saw some people praising it. It sounds like it sucks. It sounds like it's AI, and it also doesn't fit Chad Gable at all. It doesn't fit him at all. It might even be a good song. It doesn't fit Chad Gable at all. Maybe my mind will change. My mind does change on some of these songs. First of all, I heard it, I'm like, fuck this company, man, because they brought back the American Alpha song a week ago. I should have known it would not have lasted. But why even bother bringing it back? got a great reaction, and I'm like, oh yeah, this song is a fucking bop. The American Alpha song is so simple, but it's great and so fitting for Chad. Just let him keep it. The new one sucks, I'm sorry. What is your favorite Rey Mysterio match in WWE, Johnny asked? That's a good question. Favorite Rey Mysterio match in WWE? There would be a handful. Him and Dom at Mania 39, I was there for that. That was a lot of fun. I thought they had an excellent match on that show. Really great feud overall. Turned into a great match at WrestleMania. I don't know if that's my favorite, but that is up there. Him and CM Punk from, of all places, Capital Punishment in 2011. They had a series of matches in 2010, and all of those matches were great. The Mania match was good. It was brief, but it was good. The Extreme Rules match was good, and the Over the Limit match was their best match. My favorite match of theirs, honestly, was I didn't see any of those other ones live. I saw the Punk one live. I wasn't at that Mania, but I watched it as it aired. The other two I saw on the network years later. The Capital Punishment one I did watch as it aired 15 years ago, almost exactly to the day. I think it was 15 years ago. Not today. I think on the 19th. I think it was June 9th. I think it was on 619 Day, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, I watched that match. I love that match. I got to go back and rewatch that one of these days. That's such a great fucking match. So that's one of my favorite Rey Mysterio matches. The Jericho matches were great in 2009. Him and Angle, I wasn't around at that time, but I've gone back and watched it so many times because it is a great match. Him and Angle at SummerSlam 02. Him and Eddie in 05. Specifically the Mania match I really, really like from Mania 21. What else? Him and Taker from the Rumble in 2010. I've always really, really liked that match. They had a match on Christmas SmackDown for the World Heavyweight Championship that ended, I think, I thought a DQ or something with Batista getting involved. They ran it back at the Rumble and had an even better match. That's another underrated gem for me. What other matches? There's definitely other ones from the last few years. The Rollins matches I enjoyed for the most part in 2020 during COVID. Him and Penta had a great match last week on Raw. I really liked that match. That was a great match for the IC Championship. What else? 2013. Him and Del Rio had some good matches back. I don't know. I don't know if I have a single favorite Rey Mysterio match, but I just named off a whole bunch of favorites. Rey Mysterio's had a lot of great fucking matches. Eric said, where can I read your article about best wrestlers under 30? It's on Bleacher Report. It came out on Friday, so you might have to just Google it. It's top 13 WWE and AEW stars, both, not just one company, both companies under 30. So you can look that up. I've since wrote another article for Bleacher since then, so it's not on my website. Usually on my website, you can read my latest work from Bleacher Report there. Also, if you go to my Muck Rack page, it has all my articles, including my reviews from WrestleRant, which I am still in the process of catching up on, by the way. I've lessened the amount of reviews that I have to catch up on, but I'm still on my way to catching up on the reviews for the first time since fucking Mania, before Mania. It's just been very hectic the last 2 months. But anyway, typically my latest work for BR is on my website, but also there's a link on my site to my Muck Rack page where you can see all my articles, including that one. So just a heads up. Fernando said, I do not care what Brunson has done in the finals. His name should never get brought up with Jordan. Stop it. I mean, statistically speaking, his name is getting brought up with Jordan because he got that many points in one game. The only other person to do that was Michael Jordan. So I'm not saying he is Michael Jordan or the next Michael Jordan. I'm just saying, statistically speaking, his name absolutely can, will, and should be brought up in the same sentence as Jordan for that alone. I mean, you can't avoid that. I know you're not a Knicks fan, Fernando, but you got to acknowledge it. Nathaniel said, do you hope Supergirl gets a sequel? I don't know. I haven't even seen the first one, so I'm not going to say whether it should or should not get a sequel. It probably will not. I know Superman's getting a second one, but that's a little different. She'll pop up in other shit. I don't know if she herself, her movie, this feels more like just an origin film. I don't know if they need a second one, but we'll see how good it is. We'll find out next weekend. Emmanuel asked, do you think the side characters in Toy Story should get a bigger push than Woody? What side characters are we talking about? I don't know if they make a movie about Rex or Ham, who I love, or Mr. Potato Head, who I'm not even really sure what they're doing with him in this next movie, because Don Rickles, the voice of Mr. Potato Head, died like a decade ago. He wasn't even really in 4. He's in 4, but like they reused audio from unused audio from like past material, games, movies, shit and whatever. So he wasn't alive when they filmed for the movie, but they repurposed dialogue from other stuff. I don't know if they're doing that for this one. Even Mrs. Potato Head, the voice of her, I think her name was Muriel in Sweet Life of Zack and Cody back in the day. She died in 2022. So she's also not around to do new stuff for this movie. She was barely even in the last one. So I don't know if they're going to be in this one and you barely hear from them. I think Slinky, the voice of Slinky died decades ago, like 20 years ago at least, probably more than that. I don't know how they worked around him for 3 and 4. I know he's in 4. I don't know if we hear from him, though. But anyway, to answer your question, as long as it makes sense, I know, what's her name? Jessie's getting a bigger focus in this movie. I mean, she already kind of got her focus in Toy Story 2. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying, like, she's kind of getting some bit of a push, so to speak, in this upcoming movie. A bigger push than Woody? I mean, probably not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, is it more of a character arc thing with Woody where we've told all the stories that we can with him? People are going to these movies to see mostly Woody and Buzz. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see. Johnny said, in like every sport, either the son can't top his Hall of Famer father or a superstar son surpasses his okay father. Well, yeah, Rey Mysterio ain't just okay, so that's why I'm saying Dom will never surpass his father. And I like Dom. Give Me Backshot said, yeah, Yankees have the most championships in all of American sport. That's why it's okay if they don't win for a while. That's true. How long is a while, though? 20 years? 30 years? I mean, they're not terrible. Like I said, they're not even the worst team in New York. But at some point, they do got to win again to reestablish their dynasty. Daniel said earlier, got to backtrack a little bit here. Even when the Knicks were bad, the fan base was still loud and the games were always still sold out. That's impressive. I mean, New York fans are passionate, so you love to see it. Nathaniel said, I think Paige was in every season and episode of Total Divas. She was not, Nathaniel. As someone who watched the show, she was not. She wasn't even on the main roster when the first season came out in 2013. So, no, she was not. She joined maybe season 2 or season 3. I don't know if she was... No, she was not in every season after that because she actually retired when they made the final few seasons. So, she was only in a few seasons. She was not in every episode in every season. Have I ever tried chicken over rice halal food? No, I have not. Is that Indian food? What is chicken over rice? I have not. I don't think I've ever tried that before. I could be wrong, but I don't think I have. I don't know if that would agree with my stomach, to be honest with you. And I don't really want to find out. Richie said, didn't LA Knight make some massive donation to Maryland some few years back? A hospital, if I remember correctly. Solid dude. I did not know that. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. That would be very nice if he did. He probably did. And if so, that's pretty cool. He seems like a good guy. I've said this before. I watched the interview he did. I think it was last week. No, it was 2 weeks ago at this point. But he did an interview with Chris Van Vliet that I watched. Excellent interview. Like, I don't really watch a lot of full-length, full-form interviews these days. And I mentioned this on WrestleRant Radio to RJ, and we did a whole segment about LA Knight, which I put up here on the channel yesterday. But I talked about it then. I love the interview. LA Knight comes across as really humble, really down to earth. I've always been a big fan of his, but especially as a person, he seems really cool. Daniel said, even when being mediocre, the Knicks still had the highest net worth of any NBA team. That's crazy. That's insane. Pretty impressive. Emmanuel said, I probably missed out on you talking about it, but do you think WWE will redo Jey versus Roman at SummerSlam? I did brush upon this earlier. I did touch upon it earlier. I don't, but I could see it. I don't think they're doing Roman and Jey at SummerSlam. That would be fucking awful. I think it's more likely they do Jey and Cody, because they've said that. But maybe that's the whole swerve that he's actually going for Roman. I fucking hope not, man. As we get closer, it seems more and more likely that is what they're going to do, but I really hope that's not what they're going to do. Johnny said Jeff was more of a risk taker than Matt. Indeed he was. He definitely was. Nathaniel said, I loved Matt Hardy's rivalry with Edge, and Jeff was an amazing IC champion. Yeah, the Matt Hardy-Edge feud was very memorable back in 2005, and Jeff did have a lot of good runs as IC champion back in the day. Eric said, of course, why don't you have MJF on the list? Because he's 30. The title of the article, Eric, literally says under 30. MJF is not 30. He would not be on the list. Takeshita also is 31. He would be on that list if he was under 30. He is not under 30. Marceau said, Jimmy to me is still a better all-around performer than Jey, but here we are. I wish he never got that second DUI. You know, you're saying that because I think you mean if he didn't get that second DUI, he would have been back sooner. Or like he would have gotten the push that Jey did. I don't really think he would have. I don't. And I honestly don't even know if it would have worked as well. We'll never know. But Jey was the right person at the right time. I know you're saying that because it's like, oh, if Jimmy didn't get hurt, then Jey wouldn't have never gotten that push. First of all, people would still have fatigue towards Jimmy Uso. It's not as if Jimmy Uso is a massively better worker than Jey. They have almost the exact same fucking in-ring moveset. I know I compared them to Hardys earlier. They're not the same in that way. I mean, Matt and Jeff have two distinctly different in-ring styles. The fucking Usos do not. They're almost exactly the same. Jimmy is technically better, but not by that much, I would say. Nathaniel said, it would be crazy if any Toy Story characters died in this movie. It would be pretty crazy, but hey, maybe that's what's next. You gotta switch it up somehow. Johnny said, Walt Frazier won 2 titles with the Knicks in 70 and 73. Interesting. Is he among the greatest of all time? Do you like the new Chad Gable song? I don't, Nathaniel. I think it's garbage. Daniel said, a lot of people will say Ewing because of his longevity, but the fact he never won a ring might DQ him for some being number one. He never won a ring. That's insane. But he came around after 70s, right? Like he was around in the 80s or the 90s? I remember him from Space Jam. That's how I know who Patrick Ewing is. Or however you pronounce his last name. Yeah. So I guess you're going off of people that won rings with the Knicks in the 70s. And Daniel said the other Knicks in the Go Convo are Willis Reed and Walt Clyde Frazier because they both won 2 rings. And Brunson now, obviously. Interesting. So Brunson won a ring and Ewing never did. That's crazy. Jeremy said, do you think we get more AAA World Cruiserweight Championship matches on SmackDown? I don't think we get that many more. I thought Ray Phoenix and Frazier had a good match on SmackDown last week. The crowd did not give a fuck. I have no desire. I don't give a shit about AAA titles being defended on WWE television. I don't care. I really don't. I would rather they just do something more meaningfully with Ray Phoenix than have him defend the AAA title. It's better than nothing. But really, they should give him something more storyline significant that people will actually give a shit about. Fernando says, Patrick Ewing or Clyde Frazier are the best Knicks ever. Well, yeah, Frazier, I now know because Daniel mentioned him and he won a ring. So there you go. I guess Ewing never did. Nathaniel said, do you think Triple H will step down from creative at some point? I mean, eventually, yes. Either that or he'll get fired. He's not going to be in charge of creative forever. I don't think he's leaving creative anytime soon. I don't think that's imminent. Can you see Sammy costing Cody the WWE title? I could see it. I don't think that's what they're going to do. I would love to see Gunther win the belt on SmackDown. They already had Cody lose the belt on SmackDown in January. Would they really do that again? I would be surprised. Why are they doing it on SmackDown and not on the pay-per-view anyway? I think they're setting up for a triple threat of the pay-per-view. I don't think Cody's losing on Friday. I think Sammy could help Cody retain and then attack him, and then we get Cody and Sammy at the pay-per-view. I would be down for that, if not a triple threat. Johnny said, Ray and Edge versus Angle and Redacted. As far as best Ray matches, yeah, that match from No Mercy 02 is fantastic. Jeremy said, you're absolutely right that Seth should not be the one to dethrone Seth, and I would actually add Gable to the list of who should beat Roman for the title, even though I know that won't happen. Listen, Jeremy, I completely agree. Gable in that spot would be fucking awesome. And I've said before, could he be a world champion? Yes. Will he be? No. I don't think he will be. Him beating Roman would be an incredible fucking story. Or Gunther, given his history with Gunther. I don't even think Gunther's winning the belt this weekend, or this week, on Friday, whatever. But yeah, man. Yeah, that would be great. But like you said, it's not going to happen, so I'm not even going to speculate that. But that would be pretty fantastic, of course. Like a Daniel Bryan-esque story. That would be amazing. Give Me Backshot said, he's not Jordan, and no one is saying that, but in addition to the 45 points, he also has other accolades that only greats like Jordan also have. Bingo. Statistically speaking, you have to put him in the same conversation as Jordan is in that way. I'm not saying, I don't know if anyone is saying that he is Michael Jordan or as good as Jordan. But statistically speaking, like Give Me Backshots just said, he has accomplished things Brunson has, that Jordan has done as well, that few others have, which is pretty crazy. Daniel Malcolm said, they replaced the slinky voice actor with one of the guy's good friends, Sean's dad from Sean's dad from Boy Meets World. I remember that guy. I know exactly who you're talking about, Sean's dad. Like the dad that would come in and out and like ditch Sean a few times. So they did replace him. Did they replace him in the movie or did they replace him in like other media? I assume you mean the movies. Emmanuel said, was trying to think of wrestling terms for Toy Story discourse. I know some people accuse Buzz Lightyear of not being relevant to the plot since the first movie. That is true. Buzz is still a bigger draw than any other character aside from Woody, if we're using wrestling terms. But you're right. Woody or Buzz really was not relevant to the plot of 2. That was a Woody story, talking about his back history and backstory and whatever with the other toys. 3, I mean, was that really a Woody story? It kind of was. It's Woody and then everyone else. Now, Buzz is kind of the leader of the other toys. Like, he was willing to stay behind or he was going to be put in the attic or whatever. It's not as if Andy was going to bring Buzz and Woody to college. It was just going to be Woody. It was not going to be Buzz and Woody. It was just going to be Woody. So, yeah, I guess in that case, and he definitely was not really relevant in 4. I mean, I noticed that while watching the movie. Like, he helped, like, the whole inner voice thing. Like, they gave him kind of a side plot shit in all of these movies. Like, him speaking Spanish in the 3rd movie. Like, it's not really his movie. The second one is him and Zurg, or, like, the other toy Zurg, the other toy Buzz and whatever. You are right, though. He's not been relevant to the plot since the first movie. That is not completely inaccurate. It's really more Woody's story than it is a Toy Story. Give Me Backshots said, Knicks just waited 53 years. Cubs waited 100. Red Sox 86. This measly 20 years is nothing for the Yanks. LOL. Yeah. I mean, they still should not be waiting 53 years to win their next championship. But yeah, 20 years is not that big of a deal. After already winning so many other World Series, hopefully they get back to being a dynasty. I'm just saying their dynasty era could be behind them is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the Yankees, as great as they were, like, but you say, oh, the Red Sox won in 86, they took them 100 years, whatever. Yeah, but it's not like the Red Sox went back. I'm not talking about like them winning another title. I'm saying also them being back to being like they won for so many years, were involved in the World Series for so many years. And I don't think they have been in such a long time. Yeah, the Red Sox have won a few times in the last 20 years, but they were never a fucking dynasty. They've won a couple titles, but they're not like the premier baseball team. The Yankees were. That's the difference, is what I'm trying to get to here. He also said, do you think this bloodline retread is more of a Roman Reigns call or a company call? I think it's both. Roman's not arguing against it. He wants to help his own family, and the company clearly has no other original ideas outside of the bloodline. It's both. More so the company, but Roman's obviously feeding into it. It's not as if he has any other, fresh ideas. Jeremy said, any chance you see LA Knight costing Jey the match against Javon on Friday? He could. He should. I could see it. I don't see it. I don't think Oba's winning this thing. I think Jey will probably win. I don't think Javon Evans is winning this thing. It'd be cool if he... Is Javon really going to fight for a world title at SummerSlam? I'd be shocked. Realistically, Jey cost LA Knight. LA Knight should cost Jey. That's just how it works. Will he? No. And I'm not really sure why he wouldn't. Maybe the idea is, he's still hurt from Monday. That would be fucking stupid. Eric did not know that Dom just turned 30. Well, there you go. Give Me Backshot said, well, when he got the second DUI, it was when he came back from injury and doing the nobody's B gimmick with Jim. Oh, nobody's bitch gimmick? Okay. And it looked like they were telling the Jimmy part of it, if he will fall in line. I don't think the story was drastically changed just because of that second DUI. I know you're talking about the summer of 2021. He said, then he got the second DUI, and that storyline was seemingly, suddenly, abruptly stopped. It was rushed to the end. I mean, as far as, the end game was not different. If they had some sort of story with Jimmy being this breakout star, the end game was always the bloodline being the Usos and Roman. I know Jimmy wasn't willing to fall in line, and he shouldn't have initially because Roman abused Jey, so why would Jimmy just automatically fall in line with the bloodline? It was a logical direction to go in. Like you said, they rushed it after the second DUI. I don't think the second DUI changed anything. It's not as if, we can't trust him on his own. Jimmy was never going to be a world champion. He was never going to be. Jey only became a world champion because he got over from the right-hand man initial feud with Roman, and it stuck. Jimmy was never going to be that guy. Ewing was a Nick from 85 to 2000. That's crazy. Obviously, never won a championship during that time, but that's a long time. Jeremy said the same thing. Daniel said, and he was really good for pretty much that whole time. That's crazy. How about Carmelo Anthony? Is he a Knicks legend? I don't know. That's not a question for me. I mean, Daniel said, I'm conflicted on Melo's place in Knicks history because we really did not win much while he was here. That's not all his fault, but still. There you go. Unfortunately, just kept running into that 23 in Chicago. Oh, did Ewing? Yeah, it's called Mr. Michael Jordan. You're right. He just came in at the wrong time. Had it not been for Jordan just dominating the NBA, the Knicks probably would have had a better chance. It's like the Jazz, like the Jazz, I did not know they have not won a championship in so long because they were involved in the finals with Malone, right? With Karl Malone. And they still have not won a championship in a long time. They came close with Malone, but then they just ran into that roadblock that was Michael Jordan, like you said. Let's see. Melo is also really selfish, Daniel said. Really good, but really selfish. Emmanuel said, do you think that Jey would have been over in 2020 with the live crowds when the Bloodline story first started? Yes, I do. He was over online, and usually what's over online is over in person. In my own personal opinion, I do think that the story they told with Jey would have definitely got him over with fans in the arena. I definitely think so. It may have taken time, but it would have worked. Honestly, I don't even know if this story would have worked as well because Roman probably would have gotten cheered for turning heel. It worked with him. I mean, he ended up getting cheered when they went back to having fans in the building. But the Roman heel stuff worked so well because he was not getting cheered because there were no fans. So, you had to look at him as getting booed. So it worked a lot better. It's not as if the people that Roman was feuding with were getting booed because Roman was a heel and there were no fans to cheer to boo his opponents with him getting cheered. Daniel said, after OG Slinky passed away after Toy Story 2, it's been Sean's dad since Toy Story 3 and everything else they've done. Interesting. I did not know that. I haven't really paid attention to how much screen time Slinky's been getting in the movies. How do I rank the Toy Stories? Gimme Backshots asks. That's a great question. I'm telling you right now, Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 might be one of the only cases where you could genuinely say any one of them are the best one, and you would not be wrong. I honestly think you could put any of them in any order, and it would work. That is how great those movies are. The fourth one is clearly 4. I mean, that's not even close. It's not even close. 4 is not anywhere near the 3. The first, and 4 is great, but the first 3 movies, to me, are all 5-star movies. In my personal opinion, might change tomorrow, but I would rank them probably. 2 has always been my favorite. I think that's the best one personally. I would say probably 2. It's weird putting the first one at 3, but I just think the story for the third one is so great and the ending is just amazing, So I would probably go 2, 3, 1. If not, I still would put 2 at 1, but I would probably put 2 at the top. 3 and 1, I can go either way on, but they're both amazing movies. I would probably go 2, 3, 1, and then 4 at last. Is Toy Story 4 Woody's movie? They're all Woody's movie. Johnny said, I bet James Dolan is going to increase the ticket prices by triple. By triple single? Gimme Backshot says, Johnny's tickets, or talking to Johnny, he said, tickets already cost damn near college tuition prices. How much more expensive can they get? Great question. If you know where to go, though, you can get $5 Tuesday tickets, like today. I preach that all the time. They don't have that at a lot of places, but at a lot of mom-and-pop theaters, you can get $5 tickets. You don't have to pay $25 to go to the movies. You got to really know where to look and what days to go on. Johnny said, would you call the Dallas Cowboys America's team? I have no idea. I mean, how about them Cowboys is probably the extent of my Cowboys knowledge. Would I call them America's team? I mean, I guess. I don't know. Probably not. James Dolan wants to become a trillionaire. Is it true that Elon Musk is not a trillionaire too? What a loser. If Jimmy was king of the ring, Triple H is a fool. Yeah, or Jimmy or Jay. Jimmy and Jay is king of the ring. That's an oxymoron if I've ever heard one. Emmanuel said, I think Paul Heyman claimed Roman finally asserted control over his booking after the Baron Corbin feud ruined the big dog character for him. If he thinks that's what ruined the big dog for him, then Roman's an idiot. Because the big dog was ruined for him fucking 5 years earlier than that. If that was really his last straw, where the fuck was he in 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018, and 2019? I mean, come on, bro. Malone is quite the individual. If you know, you know. I'm aware. I'm aware. I didn't honestly really know about the stuff against him until this year when people were joking, oh, Karl Malone should have inducted Rodman into the WWE Hall of Fame. And then I saw people kind of pushing back on that. And I'm like, well, why is that? And then I looked into it and I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know that. The stuff that he was accused of or guilty of or whatever, I did not know that was, didn't know that was a thing. Daniel said, OG Slinky, longtime smoker, knew he was dying soon, even while making 2, so he recommended Sean's dad. That's amazing lore. I did not know that. Holy shit. I mean, with that voice, he sounded like he could have been a smoker. I mean, come on. You hear that first Slinky, and he absolutely sounds like he was a smoker. Slinky himself was probably a smoker, too. Daniel said, Toy Story 3 was so timely for me since Andy's going to college, and it came out when I was also about to LOL. Yeah, I think, honestly, they may have done that on purpose, because if you saw Toy Story 1 when you were a kid, if you were the demographic of when Toy Story 1 came out, now I was born that year that it came out, so I didn't see it until years later, obviously, until a few years later. But if you were but if you were watching Toy Story 1 when the first one came out, because the second one came out in 2010, and if you were going to college in 2010, then you were probably watching Toy Story like in you were 2, 3, 4, 5. Like if you were like a kid watching Toy Story, then you would have literally also been going to college when that third one came out. My brother was actually around that age too, so my brother's a few years older than me, and he was literally going to college the summer that Toy Story 3 came out. So I was still like in high school when the third one came out, so I was a few years off. Still emotional though, definitely that ending. I still love that third movie. Give Me Backshot says, Cowboys had gotten that America's team moniker decades ago. Do they still have it, though? Are the Cowboys still America's team, I guess is the question. And Noel said, let's be honest, the big dog character was dead after that John Cena promo for their match at No Mercy. I mean, I would argue it was dead even before that, but yeah, if you're talking about the 2017 Cena promo, the Roman Reigns big dog character had been dead for a long fucking time. Emmanuel said, I don't remember if Roman has talked about the Corbin feud himself, but I know he has said that the fans booing him as a babyface affected him a lot more after the leukemia comeback. I mean, understandably, that kind of was strange to me too. Like, he came back from fucking cancer, basically, and they still booed him. It literally took a month of him being back for him to get booed again at WrestleMania. I was there. I'm like, wow. I didn't love that Roman and Drew match at Mania, but I'm like, that's crazy that people are booing him. I was not among those people, and it was always more of a booking thing than it was a Roman thing. I did not hate Roman in 2019, but the shit he was involved in, even after coming back from fucking leukemia, and they booed him for that. I mean, that I talked about it at the time, that the company should be embarrassed. That they had a natural, like, he literally beat an illness, and he still got booed. Not because they hate Roman, not because they hate Joe. They hated the company's booking of Roman. I mean, that's crazy. Am I a fan of Monsters, Inc.? Not only am I a fan of Monsters, Inc., Fernando, that is one of my favorite movies of all time. That might be one of my, if not my favorite animated movie of all time. Love Monsters, Inc. I've seen Monsters University. I've seen the show they did on Disney Plus, which was great. I'm looking forward to the theme park. Yeah, love Monsters, Inc. I try to watch it at least once a year. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Definitely my favorite Pixar movie, that and Bug's Life. Bug's Life, I know people shit on, but to me, I fucking love that movie. Give Me Backshot says, how do you think Jacob personally feels about this storyline turn? Jacob, as a person, strikes me as someone who is just willing to do whatever at this point. Like, he's just kind of not happy to be there, but like, he's like, all right, cool. I get to work with my family. I have faith. Like, I don't think he's LA Knight. LA Knight's probably fucking frustrated. LA Knight's been around for a minute. Not that Jacob's a rookie, but Jacob's in a top spot. He's not, I mean, the fact that he lost to Roman is probably, it might have crossed his mind as like, oh, this is kind of dumb. He doesn't. I doubt he gives a shit. I don't really think anyone in that family, they seem so laid back. I don't really think they care or they get all that frustrated with that sort of stuff because they know they're good, honestly. Like, Jacob's, and also Jacob just seems like a cool-ass person anyway. He probably doesn't give a shit. And he probably knows he'll be world champion eventually anyway. So, again, he probably doesn't care. Johnny said, the Dallas Cowboys have not won the Super Bowl since 1995. Yeah, that's a long time. That was since I was born, since before I was born. So, again, are they still America's team? I don't know. Fernando started to say something. He said, how can anyone consider the Cowboys America's team over the what? What did you mean to say, Fernando? Give Me Backshot said, they had the man in dog food storylines. He should have been booed. LOL. But again, here's the thing. Yes, the storyline should have been booed. Roman himself did not deserve to get booed. He did not deserve that. I mean, the guy literally came back from a fucking illness and they booed him. That is crazy. That's insane. I mean, yeah, the storyline deserved to get booed, but he caught a lot of the flack because it's not like the writing team or specifically Vince was out in front of the fans. I mean, sometimes he was and people still fucking cheered him. Roman took the brunt of it, unfortunately. Was Monsters University good? Yeah, I love the movie. I really like the movie. I think it's underrated, honestly. I'm not going to sit here and say it's the best sequel or like whatever. I think they came up with a good idea. I also know before anyone says it, I know they reported they're making a third Monsters, Inc. or whatever. I'm aware. I don't know if that's actually going to happen or what the story would be. But it was smart because Monsters, Inc. ended in such a way. I don't even know what you would have done to make a second one. And Monsters at Work, the show, is a sequel to the movie. Like, it takes place after Monsters, Inc. takes place. So that honestly is kind of a soft sequel. Monsters University is a complete prequel as to how Sully and Mike met. And honestly, I really like the movie. I think it's funny. I think it's a good idea. I liked it more than a few of the other sequels that came out around that same time. I really, really enjoyed the movie. So, again, people might not agree, but I love Monsters. I love Monsters University. I have a lot of Monsters University merch, too. I wish I went to school there. Johnny said John Moxley was angry with the leukemia lines he had to say and the ones he refused to say. I know, we talked about that in that infamous Jericho podcast from all those years ago. Nathaniel said, do we see Tom Holland Spider-Man die in Brand New Day to set up Secret Wars next year? No. Tom Holland is not dying in Brand New Day. If he's going to die, he would die in Secret Wars. There's no way he dies in that movie and is not in Secret Wars. I would be shocked. Emmanuel said, do people shit on A Bug's Life? I thought it was considered good. I don't think so. I have always seen people shit on that movie and call it one of Pixar's worst, especially because I think it was a box office bomb, too. I don't know how anyone could possibly choose, what was it, Ants? It came out around the same time over Bug's Life. Bug's Life is infinitely better. I think that was the DreamWorks version of Bug's Life. But no, I've always seen people shit on Bug's Life. And I'm not really sure why. I mean, it's because all the other Pixar movies are amazing. You have Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., Finding Nemo. I get it. Those are all classics. The Incredibles. Bug's Life deserves some love. Bug's Life is fucking amazing. It's hilarious. And the cast they have in there, I mean, like Kevin Spacey as Hopper. Whatever happened to that guy, by the way? Whatever happened to Kevin Spacey? I kid. But you got Dave Foley as Flick. God, what is her fucking name? Allegra DeFontaine from Marvel. The one from Seinfeld. I forget her name, but she plays, not Dot. She plays the main love interest of Flick in that movie. Yeah, they have a lot of great, there's a lot of great voice actors in that movie. Really, really great movie. The brother of Frasier, he plays the Stick. Oh, the ladybug, I forgot his name. Let me just look it up real quick. The Bugs Life voice cast. Joe Ranft as Heimlich. Oh yeah, like the whatever that is. The fucking caterpillar thing. Kevin Spacey, Bonnie Hunt as Rosie. Richard Kind is Maltese, really funny. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, thank you. Yeah, she is Ada, Princess Ada. John Ratzenberger, you got in there as the P.T. Flea. Amazing. He's just a fucking gem. Yeah, the voice, that movie's great. Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 92%. I don't know. I just always thought people didn't like that movie. Like, I think on fucking Letterboxd, it has a low rating, I thought. I don't know. I've always gotten the impression people did not like that movie. Let's see. People in Dallas, Texas would still call them that. I'm sure people in Texas would still call them America's team. But what about the rest of America? Gimme Backshot said, I mean, he's still technically ill now. Is it all right to boo Roman in 2026? Yeah, he is technically still ill. I mean, he'll always be ill because he's in remission. You never really fully... it definitely never fully goes away. I mean, yeah, you could still boo the guy. I mean, it was just, today in 2026, if you want to boo him, whatever. I was just saying that more so with Roman in the immediate aftermath of that movie, of that push, he was getting booed literally within a month of him coming back. I'm not saying he can never be booed again. Oh, he beat, leukemia. He can never be booed again. I'm not saying that. But like a month later is crazy work. I'm sorry. Johnny said, Kansas City Chiefs might be America's team today due to Taylor Swift. I mean, also just due to all their success in the last several years. That is, if there's any one sports team I would say is America's team right now, it would be the Chiefs, just from my own general standpoint. Is booing any of the sequels LOL? No, and I don't think she should be. I mean, I guess she could be in the next movie if they were to do the Monsters, Inc. 3. They said they were going to, but... She's not. She's not in the show. Because again, at the end of Monsters, Inc., they go back to her room and they put her in the room or whatever. They put her back in her bedroom. And that was the last time we see her or hear her anyway. But she's not in Monsters University because that's a prequel. And she's not in the show. It'd be cool if she made a cameo in some form or fashion. But no, they never show Boo again. I don't think they need to. Give Me Backshot said, definitely seen you wear your Monsters, Inc. merch here on the show. LOL. Yeah, I think it was a couple months ago. I got a shirt for Christmas, a Harryhausen shirt. I want to eat at Harryhausen's when they started up, by the way, at fucking Monsters Park or whatever. I asked for a Harryhausen shirt for Christmas. Got it. I think I wore it here on the show a few months ago, but yeah, I have a fucking notebook of Monsters, Inc. I have literally on my computer, you can't see it, but on my computer, I have an MU alumni sticker right in front of the keyboard. You can't see it, and I can't take it off, but I have an MU sticker here. So I have a lot of Monsters, Inc. shit. Maybe Boo the Kid returns in a potential Monsters, Inc. 3. Yeah, that's what I said. Maybe. Yeah, Julia Dreyfus, thank you. Emmanuel said, no, Bug's Life did well commercially. I always saw Ants as the one that got hate, and it was literally one of the DreamWorks films made to spite Disney. Yeah, no, Ants is fucking boring. So let me look this up. I'm looking this up on Wiki. So box office wise, it grossed, let's see, 40, how many, well, let me just look at the general gross of the movie. The budget was 40 to 120 million. The box office was 360. So it did do well commercially. Commercially, it did well. The critical response was mostly well received upon release. Okay. I don't know. I've just seen people shit on Bug's Life as if it wasn't really that good. Here you go. Retrospective. In the years since its release, A Bug's Life has been regarded by critics and fans to be a Pixar film that, in contrast to its successors, has become largely forgotten by audiences. This is what I'm talking about. I mean, that's different than getting shit on, but still. I mean, it's kind of what I was referring to. While recognized as solidifying Pixar's success, the film has been seen as the studio's sophomore slump in the wake of the critically successful Toy Story, and inhibited by being released directly before the equally revered Toy Story 2. Pixar's feud with DreamWorks as a result of Ants has also been regarded as a factor in Bug's Life's legacy. Yeah, that people always talk about Ants and Bug's Life together, like I said. Here's another one. Critics have generally ranked A Bug's Life to be one of Pixar's weaker releases. Also exactly what I was referring to, Emmanuel. Well, it has been seen as charming as well as an ambitious film with pioneering animation for its time. Others have described it as adequate in appealing more to a younger demographic. Nonetheless, the film's characters, voice acting, and humor have received lasting praise. So it's not as if people thought it was bad, but you cannot tell me that people talk about Bug's Life remotely as much, or love it, or praise it remotely as much as any of the other movies I mentioned from that same era of Toy Story 1, 2, Incredibles, Finding Nemo. Those movies always get way more love. Always. When do I think Tatum Paxton gets called up? Honestly, within the next several months. I think they've already called up a lot of women. Blake Monroe got called up, and they still haven't done shit with her, so hopefully no time soon. They got to call her up with a plan. But she just lost the NXT Women's North American title, so realistically, they could call her up at any point soon. But if they don't have a plan, and NXT could use her more for right now, and there's no spot for her on the main roster unless she gets called up to be with Lyra to feud with Bayley, that would make sense. Other than that, I would not call her up right now. Probably down the road. Jeremy had asked. Nathaniel said, did you like Roman beating Undertaker at WrestleMania, or did you think Shawn Michaels should have ended the streak at 25? No, I've never thought Shawn should have ended at 25. I've always thought Taker should have retired undefeated at WrestleMania. That was always my mind. That was always my thought process. Roman beating Taker at 33, I didn't like it because I always thought it was dumb that Taker went undefeated for over 20 years and finally, he loses. I thought that should have been the only loss. I actually kind of thought it watered down Brock's win at WrestleMania 30 because it's like, well, someone else did it too. And he also beat down a fucking broken down Taker too. The match was not that good in retrospect. And I just thought it was stupid that Taker, it was a lose-lose. It was a lose-lose at Mania because either Taker beats Roman and makes Roman look like a loser because Taker sucked at that point, or Roman wins and then Taker will have lost at Mania twice after going undefeated for over 20 years. That's just stupid to me. So I thought it was a lose-lose, and I just wouldn't have done the match at all. At least not at WrestleMania. How would I rank the Avengers movies in Civil War? Age of Ultron is last. Age of Ultron is an underrated movie, but I would still put it last. I would go Endgame, Infinity War. I know people would say Infinity War first. Endgame is still, to me, better all-around movie. Infinity War, I get it. It is more of a cinematic movie, but Endgame just ties it up so perfectly. Anyway, I would go Endgame, Infinity War, First Avengers, Civil War, Age of Ultron. That's how I would rank them. Civil War is not an Avengers movie, but if you want to count that, then I would put it right before Age of Ultron. And they're all great movies, but that's how I would rank them. Do you think Blake Monroe should keep her NXT theme? Yes. It's a good song. I agree with Daniel. Of course she should keep it. Why wouldn't she? It's not like it's a CFO song. Ant's Burial from Graham, Give Me Backshot said, yeah, that movie is just fucking boring, bro. And it's not an anti-DreamWorks thing. Shrek is one of the greatest movies of all time. Animated or otherwise. Shrek is fucking... Shrek 1 and 2. Shrek 2, I would argue, is even better. So it's not like an anti-DreamWorks thing. I also liked, the Despicable Me 1 is amazing. I don't really care as much for the sequels, but... so it's not an anti-DreamWorks thing. I just think Ants is fucking boring. I think I saw that movie once and I'm like, what is this? Bug's Life is just so much better. Did I like Finding Dory? I did. I actually did enjoy that movie. Again, I feel like people don't like it in retrospect. Too many sequels by Disney, which is true. But it was good. I mean, I thought a lot of the sequels that Disney has done, aside from Moana 2, which was just kind of fucking lazy, that movie was kind of whatever. But Finding Dory I thought was really good. I thought Incredibles 2 was great. I thought Monsters University was great. I thought Toy Story 4 was great. So in that era and when they were doing a lot of sequels, I thought they were all great. Even Inside Out 2 I thought was a really good movie. I thought it was a great movie. Inside Out 1 is still better overall, but I thought Inside Out 2 was also great. Moana 2 was like one of the first sequels they've done. I mean, Cars 2 we don't talk about, but in recent years, Moana 2 was the first. That's not even Pixar, though. That's not Pixar, is it? So never mind. I take that back. That's Disney. Also, Frozen 2, I didn't really give a shit about either. But again, that's not Pixar. I don't think. Will you be watching X-Men 97 Season 2? Yes. Johnny said I would rank it that way, too. But yeah, with X-Men 97, yes. I saw the first season. I watched the entire first show in the span of like a couple of weeks. I fucking binged the shit out of that. 2 years ago. I don't know how I did that, and it was a great show, and I caught up on the new season 2 years ago. I watched it as it aired weekly, and I will be watching the new one in a few weeks. Do I think they should make Moana 3? No, but they're going to because they made a fuck ton of money. They're already making a live-action Moana, so yes, they're going to make a bunch more Moana shit. Hot take, I really don't care about Moana. I saw the first movie. It is very good. I saw the second movie. It was fine. It's basically the first movie in a different font. I don't think I'll see the live-action one at this point. I just don't really care. It just didn't really do anything for me. I don't know. It's a good movie with good music, but I think there's much better movies than Moana that Disney's put out or Pixar's put out or whatever. I don't think they'll make a Cars 4, but should they? No, they shouldn't. They ended it at 3. Just end it there. The third one was good. It wasn't amazing, but it was good. The second one, I think, I've never actually even seen it, but I'm pretty sure that was bad. And the first one's amazing. The first Cars movie is fantastic. Johnny said, I meant I ranked the Avengers movies the same. No, I know what you're talking about, Johnny. You mentioned X-Men and then the Avengers one, but yeah, I agree. Like I said, Endgame, Infinity War, Avengers 1, Civil War, Ultron. That's how I would rank them. All right, we will go to the scheduled questions now. If you have any, comments, additional questions, throw them in the chat. I will get to them soon. If you are watching live, like the video if you haven't already, by the way. I forgot to mention that earlier. I always forget to mention that, but please like the video. It would be greatly appreciated. I will get back to the comments after we answer these scheduled questions in the chat. So here we go. One sec. Bam. Let's see. First question from Jordan B. We're talking about Rey Mysterio earlier. He said, who would be Rey Mysterio's Sinister Six of rivals? Obviously, he means. He said, I would put Eddie Guerrero, Chavo Guerrero, Chris Jericho, Batista, CM Punk, and Dominic on it. They would be the Sinister Six of Rey Mysterio's career. I would probably agree with that. I was trying to think of other great Rey rivals. I know we don't give a shit about the guy at this point, but Del Rio was a pretty good rival of Rey's from like 2010 through 2011, 2012. They had a lot of good matches together. But the thing is, I can't take off any of the people you mentioned and replace them with Del Rio. So Del Rio would be an honorable mention. But, Rey's had some good opponents and some really good rivals over the years. I don't know if I would replace any of them. Maybe Edge. But Eddie Guerrero was an obvious one. Chavo, did Chavo and Rey have a lot of, I know they feuded decently in 06 and 07. Chavo I would maybe replace with Del Rio. Jericho, definitely. They had an amazing feud in 2009. Batista's a memorable rival of Rey's from 09-2010. CM Punk definitely, and Dominic definitely. So the only person I would maybe replace is Chavo, but even the Chavo feud had more personal history than Del Rio. So I would probably keep it with what you have. Jordan B., his second question, do you see Blake Monroe having greater success on the main roster than in her NXT run? Also, do you see her taking the U.S. title from Tiffany Stratton? I don't know if she'll be the one to take the title from Tiffany. It could be Chelsea, honestly, if they turn Tiffany heel and Chelsea were to beat Tiffany. I'm not going to say it's definitely going to be Blake, but it could be, and at some point it probably should be. Yes, I think Blake did not have a ton of success in NXT because they always knew that she was getting called up to the main roster on the Sooner side. So she was only in NXT for a year. While she was there, she was the NXT Women's North American Champion for like a month because they botched the title loss. I don't know when she would have lost the championship and to who, but yeah, she didn't have a lot of success there. The better question would be, will she be more successful in WWE than she was in AEW? That I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think so. She's in a bigger pond now in WWE, and her booking in AEW is practically perfect. So I don't know if she's going to have a better run in WWE. I hope she does, but we'll see. Then her NXT run, she definitely will. If she holds the fucking United States Championship for more than 3 weeks, then she will have automatically eclipsed her NXT run. It's just because in NXT, they kind of, like Jordan Grace, they kind of held her back from doing more because they knew that she could get called up at any time because they were already main roster ready. Nike Fan 02, what are your thoughts on John Cena changing his stance on one more match? His new stance is that if you have a boatload of money, he will do another match, a.k.a. the Saudis, a.k.a. TK, Tony Khan. Do you think it happens? No, I think you're misinterpreting it. First of all, Nike Fan, you got to pay up Mr. Malcolm. You got to pay up Daniel. You got to pay him up. You said you would pay him $25 if the Knicks won the series. It's not over yet. Well, guess what? They fucking lost. Did the Spurs. Got to pay up. I should say I won't answer your question until you pay up to Mr. Daniel Malcolm. He accepts Cash App, Venmo. He said that himself. PayPal potentially. Anyway, I'll answer your question anyway. No, Cena will not wrestle again. I know he made a comment like that's the only thing that would make him wrestle again. He might have even been facetious when he said that, like, oh, it would take a lot of money for me to wrestle again. But he wasn't like, yeah, pay me $5 million and I'll wrestle again. I think he said that he'd have to be like broke or like really, really desperate. And I don't think that's going to happen. So no, I don't see Cena wrestling again. I take him at his word. He will not. Of all the wrestlers to break retirements, I don't think he will be one of them. It would also just make him look like an idiot. I know he said the boatload of money thing, but like he was more steadfast in retirement than literally anyone else they've ever seen, aside from Batista. Batista's another one where he was like, I am adamant about never wrestling again. And I think Cena's the same way. So I don't think he really changed his stance so much as he was giving an answer that people kind of ran with, like, oh, Cena's coming back. Like, he's not. Your next question, will you be going to see the final Jackass movie on June 26th? No. That weekend I'll be seeing Supergirl, like I said. I've never seen a full-length Jackass movie. I'm aware of it. I think some of the dumb shit they do is funny. 25 years ago, nowadays, it just seems dumb. I know they did that Jackass movie a few years ago. The only reason I remember that is because they promoted it on WWE television with Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville having a match at WrestleMania, which was actually surprisingly entertaining and actually good and exceeded my expectations for what it was supposed to be. But I never saw that movie. I never saw any of the other ones in full. I don't really have any, desire to, so no. I might see Disclosure Day. I'm definitely seeing Toy Story 5, and I'm definitely seeing Supergirl. I'm probably not seeing Moana, the fucking live action shit. I don't think I'm going to see Jackass either. Unless I just happen to stumble into it, I'm probably not going to go see it. No L from Facebook. Do you see Obafemi winning King of the Ring, or do you see Brock Lesnar costing him that opportunity? That is unfortunately exactly what I see happening. Oba keeps bringing up Brock. Why would he do that unless Brock was going to come back out, resume the rivalry, and face Oba at SummerSlam? There's no way they bring back Brock to do anything else but face Oba for a third time. They keep talking about how they even the fucking score. Unless they were to get it over with before then, which they won't, like at Saturday night's main event, they're not going to fucking do that. That's where they're going with it. So Oba's not winning. He should. He should. I don't think he is. I think Oba is going to lose to Jey, which is god-awful, because of Brock Lesnar interference at Night of Champions. So, no, I see Jey winning the whole thing at this point, which is just terrible. Do I see Cody Rhodes losing the World Championship to Gunther on SmackDown this week, I think you mean? I don't. I think Cody will retain. I would love if Gunther won. I think it's more likely Sammy does something to help Cody Rhodes win or retain or whatever, whether it's inadvertent or not. And then that sets up either a triple threat in Night of Champions or just Cody and Sammy straight up. Maybe Cody doesn't defend in Night of Champions at all, but I would be surprised if he didn't, because I don't think Roman has a match on that show either. So that'd be kind of fucking garbage if they didn't do a world title match on that show when they very easily could. At Iwagoon91 with a few questions here. He said, first things first, being born in New York, but he resides in New Jersey, he is ecstatic about the Knicks being NBA champions. On to the questions. Do you see Mike Bailey getting his/their rematch against Kevin Knight for the TNT title at AEW Redemption? I do. It was funny. Bailey actually said on Collision, I'm going to go through every member of the Don Callis family, get another shot at Kevin Knight for the TNT title. His first match against a Don Callis member on Collision, he lost to Jake Doyle. And Jake Doyle should have beaten him. Jake Doyle, that was, I think, his first singles match, maybe ever in AEW, at least since he got signed about a year ago or earlier this year. And he should have won, and he did. But it's like, okay, and then what? So much for that story for Bailey, which I guess he's still going to do. But yes, I do think Bailey will get another shot at redemption. They're in Canada. It'd be kind of weird if Bailey was not on that card, and maybe he'll beat Kevin Knight on that show. I think that'd be a great moment. So, yeah, I think that's where they're going with it. His second question, when Mark Briscoe and his team beat MJF and his team at Forbidden Door, do you think his title shot against the AEW World Champion will occur at an episode of Dynamite, considering that Kenny Omega might vie for said title at Redemption? I do. I do think if they were going to do Briscoe and MJF, which they will, I would rather they just do it at Forbidden Door. But then again, I thought the cage match was at Forbidden Door, but then I saw they're advertising a 10-man tag for Dynamite. Was that just them picking their partners, or are they actually doing the match on Wednesday? I think they're just picking their partners on Wednesday. But anyway, Briscoe and MJF will happen on TV, and they'll do MJF and Omega at Redemption. Omega wins. Ospreay wins the Owen Hart Cup, and we get Ospreay and Omega 3 for the title at All In, and Ospreay wins the belt. That's what I see happening. Speaking of Forbidden Door, he says, do you think they should discontinue the event after this year? They should have already discontinued the event. I know they have CMLL's working relationship and Stardom and New Japan, obviously, but there's no dream matches to be had with any of those promotions in 2026. They've exhausted all options. New Japan has a very weak roster right now overall. Stardom, they bring in women from Stardom all the time anyway. CMLL, same thing. Even New Japan. There's no appeal there. It's not special. And it's just kind of a waste of a show. So they should get rid of it. They won't. They want to please their partners and make it look like, oh yeah, all the dream matches from all these other promotions. It's gotten to a point where no one cares. And it's routinely one of the weaker shows of the year. So I would get rid of it. I don't think they will. Jeremy8911 from Twitter, does it feel like Jimmy Uso is the only Bloodline member that you get any face vibes from? And would you be for the idea of it leading to him being kicked out? Yeah, but like, what would be... He is the most likable member of the group currently, but him getting kicked out, what would that even accomplish? Like, that would mean getting another Usos feud, another Jey and Jimmy feud, this time with the roles reversed. No thanks. We already saw Solo boot Jimmy out of the group 2 years ago. I don't really care to see them run that back. Jimmy feuding with the Bloodline, who gives a shit? You know, like... Even what they're doing now, I don't really care. But even that would be better than splitting off the Usos again. It's like we've already seen all this dissension play out before. It's literally the exact same story. So no, Jimmy on his own also, by the way, is cooked. Jimmy on his own, he might as well just get released. Because there's no real value there with Jimmy on his own. He's got to be with Jey. The Usos together are better together than they are apart. Specifically for Jimmy's sake. So no, I don't think it leads to him getting kicked out. And I don't think that should happen anyway. Let me just move my camera real quick so you can see the rest of the questions. Oh, shit. Hold on. Bam. There we go. Okay. At GMacBailey14, whoever beat Brie Bella and Paige for the women's tag team titles, do you think they will lose it to the Bella Twins whenever Nikki is cleared for action? So basically he's saying, what if Bailey and Lyra win the belts on Monday? And then those two lose the tag titles to the Bella Twins. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that'd be lame. I know they want to get the belts in the Bella Twins. They've never been tag team champions. This was supposed to be the Bella Twins run. And guess what? Nikki got hurt. The Bella Twins can win the tag titles maybe at some point. For Paige and Brie to lose the belts and then Nikki and Brie to get them back from the team that beats them would be stupid. I fucking hope not. I mean, the fact that we even have Paige and Brie as tag team champions and they've been fine is enough. We don't need the Bella Twins as tag team champions. Like, them losing to Fatal Influence, which is hopefully still the plan. Maybe Bailey and Lyra are going to win the tag titles Monday. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't complain. I kind of want the tag titles off of Paige and Brie so Paige can go off and do her own thing. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I would not do that. I think Fatal Influence should have the tag titles soon and hold the tag titles as opposed to giving them back to Brie Bella for a second time. Like, I don't give a shit about that. And last two questions here at millennial_noob from Twitter. What are your thoughts on the whole build of this year's Forbidden Door? I believe the whole build has been interesting due to Tekla disrespecting Stardom, but I hope that the rest of the build occurs in the coming weeks. Yeah, the build so far has really not been that interesting in my opinion. The Tekla thing has been well done, where she got fired from Stardom and she's coming back after Stardom and calling them out. I like that, but like every other aspect of the build for the pay-per-view does not feel Forbidden Door-ish at all. Like it just kind of feels like a regular show with matches kind of being thrown together. The product is hot right now, but it has nothing to do with the Forbidden Door concept. So I just don't give a shit about it personally, about the whole Forbidden Door thing at this point. The Tekla thing is well done. Otherwise, the build is pretty basic. Like we have the Owen Hart Cup finals. That's great. The Women Owen Hart Cup is kind of a mess right now because people are getting hurt and can't compete and whatever. I don't know what else they're even doing at that show. I know they're doing Omega and Zack Sabre Jr. That should be great. The build is kind of non-existent. They kind of threw it out there in a random vignette like, oh, okay, Omega's challenging Zack Sabre Jr. or vice versa, rather. I guess let's do it. Okay, whatever. So yeah, the build's been pretty lazy, and I don't blame people for not giving a shit because the concept just isn't all that interesting in 2026. There's really nothing forbidden about it. And last question here. Ever since he advanced to the semifinals in the King of the Ring, do you think that wrestling fans have already had Jey Uso fatigue? I mean, poorly worded question, but I know what he means. He went on to say, if Jey Uso wins the King of the Ring tournament, then it's already a telltale sign that the fans are already tired of him at this point. The fans have already had Jey Uso fatigue. The Jey Uso fatigue really dates back to the Rumble win last year. The very polarizing Jey Uso world title chase, Royal Rumble win. That was very divisive. And I said at the time, I'm glad that Jey Uso won because he's a hot hand. He's very over. You could tell the story with him and Gunther, and the story was fine. The moment was great. The match was good. I had no issue with it, and I even said at the time, you do not have to give the belt to him for more than like a few months. And they took it off of him in 6 weeks, which I thought was perfectly fine. The issue with Jey, to me, has really been since he lost the world title. While he was world champion, it was fine. His chase for the world championship was kind of hit or miss, but it was largely fine. The Rumble win was great. Ever since he lost the world title about a year ago, almost exactly, my biggest issue with Jey has been the fact that he just doesn't really deliver in the spots that matter most. Like the match with Punk at Saturday Night's Main Event sucked. I mean, that was not a good match. And it's a lot of the same stuff, and he really hasn't evolved as a character. Going back to being with the Usos was great. I like that. But now they're back with Roman, and it's another step backward where he's kind of calling shots, or Roman's calling the shots, and Jey's delivering on his orders. It's literally what we saw from him 5 years ago. It's the exact same shit. There's no difference. It's the exact same stuff. What is new about that? There's no evolution. So there was a decent amount of Jey Uso fatigue about a year and a half ago. There is way more now. There would be even more if he won King of the Ring. Him winning King of the Ring would be fucking stupid. There's no reason for it. First of all, Jey Uso being King of the Ring is an oxymoron in and of itself. Second of all, where does that even go? Him beating Oba is also comical. But third of all, I guess, where does that even go? You know, do you have him face Cody? That's not interesting. Him facing Roman again? That's even worse. So there's no option here that really makes that interesting. Whoever Jey faces in the finals would have to get hurt or something, unless Oba were to win the whole thing, and I just don't see that happening because I think he faces Brock at SummerSlam. And I don't think they have Oba pull double duty and have him face Brock night 1 and Roman night 2 or whatever. I don't think that's going to happen either. There will be a lot more Jey Uso fatigue coming out of the King of the Ring, the very likely King of the Ring win for him. And worse yet, I don't even know if that's the point for people to be booing Jey. Like I said, it would be one thing if he was supposed to be a heel, and they're capitalizing on the fatigue by shoving him down our throats and making people boo him. But it's not as if he's getting booed right now. He still was super over with the whole Yeet shit a week or two ago on Raw. So I'm not even sure that's the point. I just don't feel like that's the answer, to put more heat on him by having the internet turn on him, but the crowds will still go crazy for his theme song. It's stupid, ass backwards, dumb booking. It's very dumb. So there's a lot of Jey Uso fatigue right now, more so than there was even a year ago. It's been there probably since the Rumble last year, and there will be even more Jey Uso fatigue / hate. And honestly, justifiably so, for his booking, not the man himself. Because him in another main event level position going into SummerSlam, when it makes zero sense to do that, and you have so many other options that would be way better in that spot than him, would be a massive fucking mistake. And I really hope they don't do that, but they very likely probably will. So we will close out here in a couple of minutes after we look back on the chat, see what you guys have said, if anything. Let's see. Dean Malenko was a great rivalry in WCW. Yeah, if you want to, like I said, I can't really speak to Rey's opponents and rivals in WCW because I wasn't watching Rey Mysterio's work in WCW. Juventud Guerrero would be another one. I was thinking of him a lot. I was thinking of him as well. Richie said, I will tolerate no Bug's Life slander. That might be my personal favorite Pixar film next to the original Toy Story, and A Bug's Life has the best Pixar short ever. Yes, it does. And second of all, is it the old man with the chess board? Isn't that the Bug's Life one? Because that is great. Where he's playing by himself or whatever. But yeah, I'm glad to know that you love Bug's Life as much as I do, Richie. I didn't know you did. I'm learning that about you today, so we have that in common. It's one of my favorite Pixar movies next to Toy Story is fantastic, but to me, it's Monsters, Inc. Monsters, Inc. is number one for me. Emmanuel said, Chavo feuded with Rey a lot. Admittedly, I think Batista is the contentious one since they only had the late 09 feud. Okay, yeah, I guess if anyone, you take out Batista, but people would still put Batista over Del Rio. Del Rio and Rey had better matches than Batista and Rey did. But the Batista one is just so memorable. That's why people still go to it as like one of Rey's best feuds. because that was the only way Batista was getting heat, because he got a lot of cheers back then, was by attacking a fan favorite in Rey Mysterio. If Jade can win the women's title, Blake and Monroe can too. I wouldn't go that far. I mean, they look at Jade as the star. Blake is a star too, but Jade just has that build about her that fits WWE to a T. They were always going to push Jade. It's not like, well, Jade sucks in the ring, so if she can win the belt, so can Blake. I can see why Jade is going to be champion many times over. And for her to be built around, it's not as if she's bad or unbelievable in that spot. Blake Monroe, I have less confidence in, because she's not going to be as over as quickly as Jade was. People can say what they want about Jade. Jade was over immediately with the audience. Blake Monroe it will probably take some time. And she's better in the ring than Jade, but she doesn't have that same aura that Jade does. That's just a fact. And aura goes a long way in this company, as we know. Richie said, with WWE allegedly interested in signing Zilla Fatu, is there an argument to be made that WWE signs talent with no intention of making them world champ? Yet legends and vets are quick to say that talent who aren't in the business to be world champion should just leave. Yeah, that whole notion like everyone should want to be world champion is so stupid, because not everyone is going to be world champion. Certain people are good in certain roles. And with the Zilla Fatu thing, like, yeah, they signed talent with no intention of making them world champ. I mean, I don't know what that has to do with Zilla Fatu. Zilla Fatu might be a world champion. I have no idea. But yeah, I know Richie also said, isn't it a bit contradictory for vets to say that if said talent aren't being pushed or given the tools to succeed? Isn't that contradictory? Because the argument of right place, right time can be made, sure, but it's not the same. Yeah, no, it is contradictory, because certain people are bound to just be mid-carders. WWE was not signing people to be world champion. Certain people, yes. Certain people are only ever designed to be at a certain role. So yeah, that mindset has always just been dumb to me. I completely agree. Daniel said, watch, we will never see Nike fan in a live stream ever again, or we will, and he will just no-sell it like Mr. Cunningham Tyreek, LOL. Yeah, we'll see. He might be the new Tyreek. Maybe he'll pop up before we head out of here. I don't know. Time will tell. They're making another Jackass Give Me Back Shot said. Yes, they are. It's coming out in, next weekend. I've seen the trailers for it, too. It looks as dumb as the other ones. AEW took New Japan's top stars and rising stars. Correct, they did. And it's not as if New Japan's done a fantastic job of creating a lot of new stars in their absence. They have created some new stars, not as many as they should have. I think Jimmy can be over on his own. I don't think so. We saw him on his own. It's not that he's not over. Will he be as over as Jey? No. And also, there are about 20 people I would rather see pushed and deserve to get pushed and would be better in a spot on their own getting pushed than Jimmy fucking Uso in 2026. What's going on, brother? He said, who is your world champion? World Cup champion? I can't answer that. I don't know. Haven't been following the World Cup. Let's go Spain. Haven't they been very successful in the past? We'll go Spain. I only know that because I interviewed a soccer player earlier this year. Will Glamour be forever on the main roster? I hope so, but time will tell. I don't know if that's exactly going to be the case. Like I said, I don't know if... I think she will be successful. But to say who's successful and who won't be, it's such like a hit or miss thing, because a lot of people should be successful and they're not. Other people I don't see getting beyond a certain level and then they do. It's hard to say who will click and who won't, you know? Do you think Gunther tapping has done any lasting damage? Lasting damage done? Was any lasting damage done? No, it did not. Was it stupid in retrospect? Yes. It made no sense in retrospect. They should have never done it. You said, does it ever get difficult to still do streams when the product leaves you unsatisfied? Good question. No, because it's the activity as far as like the interaction with people that always makes it worthwhile. And I honestly enjoy the current stream, or the current product by and large. For WWE, especially AEW. But like if you're talking like 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, it does make it a bit more uneventful or harder to do streams. But honestly, then we're just shitting on stuff. So that's also fun too. So whether we're praising it, it's honestly the times where it's just boring and there's really nothing to talk about. But again, it's the interaction with people like you and everyone else in the chat that do make it worthwhile to continue doing streams and stuff like that. So the quality of the product does make a difference. It's nice when it's a hot product. I don't like when it's garbage product, a garbage product, but there's almost always something to talk about and something to interact with people about. Same thing with sports. Nathaniel said, Well, if they take the titles off of Paige and Brie just to put it on the Bellas later to set up Paige and AJ Lee versus the Bellas at SummerSlam, how would you feel about that? No thanks. I have no interest in seeing Paige back in the tag team division again, this time with AJ Lee. I mean, I guess that'd be fine, but it's like, that's like 2015 all over again. No thanks. I have no interest in seeing that. Not saying they definitely won't do it, I just don't really care to see it. Did Nike fan pay his bet? He did not, you. He should. He has not shown up on the stream. He sent in questions, but he coincidentally did not acknowledge that the Knicks won the title and that he owes Daniel Malcolm $25. Do I still see Jade as a potential main eventer? Like, what does that mean? What does a potential main eventer for the women even mean? Because the women have not main evented a pay-per-view in years, right? I mean, aside from Evolution, what is a main eventer for the women's division? If you mean the top of the division, then yes, I do see Jade still as a top. I mean, she's on the show consistently. They protect her. She had 2 great matches with Rhea. She looks great. She's got a great look. She could talk. She's improved. Is she at the level where she should be in the ring? No, but I don't think this company cares. And I think she's worthy of the spot that she's in, personally, in my opinion. So if you mean like a top title contender, like will Jade be WWE Women's or World Women's Champion again? Yes, I do. If you had the pen, would you be weary of pushing a super overstar who is widely injury prone? That's a good question. I would be. But you got to at least capitalize. If they're still super over and they get injured a lot, you can't not capitalize on them. I know, like, it would be one thing if you can't trust them with, like, oh, they get DUIs a lot. Like, that I get. You got to, like, punish people for that. Injuries aren't anyone's fault. Randy Orton has been injury prone since almost his first fucking day. Doesn't mean they shouldn't have taken a chance on him as a future world champion. He ended up becoming one of the greatest of all time. So I would be weary, but I would still push that person to a certain degree. Or put them in certain situations where they're not getting injured as much. Magic Plumaire, what's going on, brother? He said, why do the old-timers love to give advice that they would have never followed themselves? Because they would never admit to taking that advice 20, 30, 40 years ago. They have nothing to go off because they can't follow it now. So they can say, yeah, I would have done that back in the day. They fucking wouldn't have. Just stop, Do you believe LA Knight when he says he will not want to wrestle past 50? I do. LA Knight does not strike me as a person that would want to continue wrestle for another 10 years. I do believe him when he says that. I mean, he was content with quitting like 5 years ago before he even got to WWE. He has said that he was willing to wrap it up and retire from wrestling. But then he got signed to WWE, and that obviously put those plans on hold, which was good. I'm glad he put those plans on hold. Gunther tapping was stupid in real time, not just in retrospect. No, it was dumb then too. I'm not saying it was great then. It was stupid then. I'm just saying it didn't do any. Like, Gunther was fine, will be fine, will always be fine. He'll still get those you tapped out chants, and to know that it was to Jey Uso was comical. It didn't ruin Gunther, is my point. It was still fucking dumb then. I do agree with that. Johnny said, Charlotte needs to win against Liv. Liv does not need to be in the finals against Io. I agree. What would even be the point of that? Liv being in the finals, losing to Io, and then Io would face Liv again at SummerSlam? That's stupid. That's dumb. I have no idea. I have no desire to see that. Daniel said, I enjoy these streams even when the product is ass. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. As I enjoy doing them even when the product is ass. Do I see Charlotte winning 18? The 18th World Women's title? What is she at now? 15, 16? I don't even know what she's at now, but the answer is yes, I do. I don't see LA Knight winning a world championship. Do you? I don't. Not in this company. Richie said, I guess the point I was trying to make was, does Zilla Vatu have potential to be world champ, or will he be lost in the shuffle like Solo, or will this seemingly play the long route like Jacob Fatu? I can't comment on that. I have not seen enough of Zilla Fatu in the ring or his work. I know he was green as goose shit 2 years ago. I know that for a fact. And people were acting as if he was going to be the world champion tomorrow. Like, that was fucking dumb. In 2026, I know he's improved. I don't know how much. I don't watch the kid, so I don't know. Could he be a world champion? It is possible. I always looked at Fatu because I followed his work in MLW. I always looked at him as someone like, yeah, that guy could be a world champion in WWE. Solo, I might have said that about, but honestly, that was more so when he was in NXT. I don't think that now. I don't think Solo should be a world champion now. I mean, Magic Plumaire even asked, where do you see Solo Sikoa's ceiling? I think he's mid-card, upper mid-card at most. He's not a main eventer. He's just not. I think they should try him as a babyface, though. For Zilla, he could be a world champ. It's too soon for me to say because I haven't seen enough of his work. But Richie added, however, Zilla is 26. He could be the face of NXT, if anything, for a while, since they're short on talent. I think that's the perfect spot for him for the foreseeable future. I do think that would work well for him. I think rushing him to the main roster would be a mistake. He should absolutely go to NXT first. It's not as if he's had this widespread of experience that extends like decades or multiple promotions. He hasn't spent any real time in MLW, TNA, Ring of Honor, AEW. He really should be on NXT first. Even Solo went to NXT first, albeit for a year. Fernando said, how are the Cowboys considered America's team when their team is called the Patriots with red, white, and blue as the team colors? That's a great question, Fernando. I think the Patriots, if I had to take a guess, the Patriots would be more of America's team, or even the Chiefs. I would not say the Cowboys. Maybe decades ago, definitely not now, especially since the Cowboys, I'm pretty sure, stink. Plumayera said, would you like to see Maxine reunite with her brother Max in a main roster segment? I mean, as a joke quickly, but the fact they haven't done it by now tells me they're never going to do it. And I mean, he separated from them all those years ago, so it's not as if they never referenced it again. Like, he ditched them, and that was it. It would have to make sense, but sure, why not? Richie said, and regarding Blake Monroe, I think her issue is that she's just another blonde on the roster whose gimmick is that she's hot. There are way too many women who have that character. Yeah, that is also a concern that I have. She is very similar to Tiffany. They already have Tiffany, and her and Tiffany, I am shocked they are on the same show. They have Charlotte on that same roster, on that same SmackDown brand. Granted, her gimmick is that not that she's hot. I'm not saying she's not attractive. It's just that Tiffany and Blake are very similar. And Tiffany is also better as a babyface. I'm sorry, better as a heel, and she's a babyface currently, and she should turn heel soon. You also have Chelsea on that same roster, who is not like, oh, my gimmick is that she's hot. Her gimmick is that, like, she's a ditz, I guess. Maybe she should be a babyface. I think Chelsea's very good. But she also reminds me very similarly of Tiffany and Blake. You have all these women on the same show. So, yeah, that also does not help. I agree. Does Stephanie cost Liv? She should. I don't know if she will. I'm going to say no. She should, though. Plumayera said, are they doing an NWO 2000 Judgment Day with Rhea, Priest, and Finn? I don't think so. I don't think they're going to reunite them. Honestly, if they were to do that, what would even be the end game? Them taking on the original Judgment Day in like a 6-person tag? That would have been cool if they had done that when Edge was still around before he left. They didn't do that, though. He wasn't around long enough, but I mean, it's not really something that overly interests me, but maybe with them as baby faces this time. I mean, hey, Priest can't get much lower than where he is currently, so it's at least worth giving a shot to. How would you rate Tala Tonga's in-ring work? I think he's fine. I don't think he's bad, and he's not, like, exciting. I never really thought he was an overly great worker anytime I saw him at Impact or New Japan or whatever, but I think he's fine. How do they feel about Maxine and Austin backstage on Raw? I don't care about Maxine joining the division, so that does nothing for me. Daniel says, don't you have to be liked to be America's team? Feel like folks don't like the Patriots outside of the New Jersey or New England area. Yeah, you might be right. But what team does everyone like? Does everyone like the Cowboys? Does everyone like the Chiefs? I mean, I don't know if you could say that with any team, to be honest with you. Are the Yankees New York's? Are the America's team, even though the Yankees are hated by many? So that's the question. Fernando said, Kenny called out MJF on Collision. It looks like your prediction, Kenny winning the title and facing Will at All In, is happening. Yeah, I just think they're going in that direction. I said that a while ago, but I do definitely think Kenny is facing MJF at Redemption. He's going to win the belt, and then he loses the belt to Ospreay at All In. I'm not even saying that's definitely what I would do personally. I'm just saying I think that's definitely where they're going with this. Do you see Jay pinning Oba? I do. I hate to say that. Probably if Jay pins Oba, it's only because Brock got involved. That is what I see happening at this point. Richie said, not sure why my second part did not populate, but I had also said that Blake needs something to sink her teeth into to make her stand out, as she did with Toni Storm during her tenure in AEW. I agree. She needs a proper story. Really something to sink her teeth into. I completely agree. Her just floating around in backstage segments ain't it. Nah, that will not work. Completely agree, though. Is there a chance Oba pulls double duty at SummerSlam? Yes, there is a chance. He could face Brock night 1, Roman night 2. I don't understand what the point of that would be. Why not just give Brock another opponent? We did not need him and Brock again, Brock and Oba, for a third fucking time at SummerSlam. I would not do that. I would prefer that over Jey winning King of the Ring, though. I would take Oba putting double duty over Jey winning King of the Ring for sure. Richie said, we know she's capable. It's a matter of her getting that opportunity, though. I mean, yeah, you could say the same thing for pretty much anyone else in the roster. Everyone on that roster, for the most part, is capable of being the guy or the girl or a world champion. A lot of them just don't get that opportunity. Rey Fenix is the same way. There's so many people you could say that about. Chad Gable up until recently. They just need the opportunity. And Blake is no different. Fernando said, I know you said no to this, but I think Liv versus Rhea unification at SummerSlam is the way to go. I am maintaining what I said. No. No, thank you. I don't need Liv and Rhea again right now. I definitely don't need them to unify the two titles. They don't need to. Why would you unify the main women's titles but not the mid-card belts? That would just, for the women's division, that would be stupid. Did I hear that Rhea might be injured? I did, and that's why she was not on SmackDown. I don't know if that's real or not. Hopefully it's not a major injury and she just took a week off to heal whatever it was, but we will see in due time. Daniel said it would probably need to be a team that has a decent fan base outside of the local area. Like the Lakers are a team that has fans everywhere. The Cowboys also have that because of their past dominance. Okay, yeah. I don't know if they're America's teams, but that would make sense. That would, if you're trying to constitute America's teams as teams that have love all across the country, then the Lakers and Cowboys, I guess, would make sense. Johnny said, Blake should change her hair color to black. No, she should not. That would ruin a lot of her Sabrina Carpenter gimmick that she's going for. Will Oba be booed facing hometown Brock? You know, I was thinking that. I don't think so. I think Oba is over enough to where that wouldn't be the case. I do think the cheers will not be as loud because they want to boo or they want to cheer Brock in his hometown. But yeah, that was a concern I had too. Richie said, is there a world where Io wins Queen of the Ring, takes on Liv, wins the title, and we get a returning Asuka at Money in the Bank in which she wins and cashes in on Io? I don't think so. I mean, maybe. I'm going to be honest, I have no interest in seeing Asuka win Money in the Bank. We already saw it in 2020. And Asuka is, champion again to feud with... We already kind of saw them feud, and they had their great match. I mean, they could have more matches. I know it was only one match. It is possible. I don't think so. I'd rather Roxanne win the briefcase or Blake or someone new. I'm kind of over, these fucking same people winning this shit. Like Charlotte or Becky again. Give it to someone who could actually benefit from it, in my opinion. Asuka could always face Io another time. I'm not saying that wouldn't happen. I would just really not care. Plume Air said, I know he went to college there, but why is Brock billed from Minnesota like he didn't grow up in South Dakota? Kai. I don't know. It's because, like you said, that's where he wants to be billed from, or that's where... I don't know how much time he actually spent in Minnesota. I have no idea where he grew up and how much time he spent in each state. I do not know. Richie said, my keyboard went AWOL on me. Yeah, it was struggling to get on the... it was struggling to get out the on EO part. Richie, have you been drinking? Daniel asked. Richie said, we would get Asuka retiring at Mania against Io, who passes the torch, yada, yada. I'm good. We already kind of we kind of got that. So you're saying that Asuka takes the belt from Io. Asuka's champion for 6 months, which I just don't really care to see at this point. And I love Asuka, but we don't really need that again. And then the end game is Io beating Asuka again, and then Asuka passing the torch again. We kind of got that at Backlash. It's kind of the same thing. The only difference is that a championship wasn't on the line the first time. It kind of sounds a lot like what they're doing with Brock and Oba, where Brock retired and then he wasn't, and then they have more matches, and then Brock retires for real. It's a waste of time to me. The matches would be good with Io and Asuka, but I don't think they need to have a year-long story when we already got a year-long story with them dating back to last year through Backlash of this year, in my opinion. How do I feel about Rhea's changed physique over the years? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and comment on the woman's body like, oh, she should be, heavier or something. Like, bro, I don't know what her reason is for losing weight or building muscle. I don't know. I mean, she looks definitely much different than she did even a year or two ago. I mean, that much is for sure. As long as she's healthy, then I don't really care. I mean, it's whatever she feels comfortable with. I know she had said that it was because of an eating disorder. I don't know if she was kidding or if she was serious. That sounded like she was serious, you know? I have no idea. As long as she's okay, then whatever. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, yeah, like, she should be bigger or she should be skinnier. Like, it's not my fucking body. I don't really care. I mean, we can sit here and ask, we could sit here and talk about, oh, yeah, she was more attractive when she looked like this, but that's kind of like vain shit, and that wasn't even really your question anyway, so hopefully she's okay. Hopefully it's not an eating disorder thing. It probably was, according to what she said, and that really sucks. Hopefully she can work through that, and people can stop being assholes as well. Do I think Asuka would have been she would have been pushed stronger if she joined the company at a younger age? No. Because if she had joined sooner than she did, they would not have pushed her. I really don't think so. I think it took her coming around when she did during the Divas Revolution era for her. I mean, no, I don't think age was ever an issue with Asuka. I don't. We've never heard that before. Asuka had so much success, but they were never going to build around Asuka as the face of the division due to her lack of English. Her English has always not been good. I think they should have pushed Asuka more aggressively, but they still pushed Asuka pretty fucking aggressively as it was. I mean, she won every title there is to win for the most part, so I don't think the age thing would have made a difference. He also asked, with Enzo and Cass potentially coming back, how would you feel about Velveteen Dream? I was thinking about that. Has there been enough for him to ditch the stench that he had a few years ago? I just think people would not accept that. I feel like people would shit all over it. His time is over. In WWE, he never really, I know he went on Chris Van Vliet's podcast to kind of defend what he was accused of. It was kind of strange, and we also just have heard nothing from him since. It's not as if he's built back up his reputation to a point where it's he kind of seems like a good guy. He just seems like an idiot. I don't know him personally. I can't speak to what's true and what's not. Maybe he was wrongfully accused, but even if he was wrongfully accused, does anyone honestly give much of a shit about Velveteen Dream in 2026? I mean, even the Enzo and Cass thing, I mean, they're not canceled. Enzo was kind of at one point. Cass was never canceled. He just had his own personal issues. Even Enzo and Cass, I don't give a fuck about. Together as a team in 2026, I don't care about that either. Velveteen Dream, no thanks, man. We have enough talent they're not doing enough with. Johnny said, Blake and Tiffany win the tag titles and call themselves the Mean Blonde Girls. Yeah, I guess. I mean, they should be on their own, but okay, whatever. Who do you want Becky to face next? Because I think she should be done with Soul. If they did one more match with Soul, that's fine. I think ultimately she should work with Stephanie. We haven't seen Becky and Stephanie yet. I want to see that at some point. Maybe that's her next feud. Fernando said, we know the OG bloodline is the Yankees right now. Who are the Red Sox? Judgment Day, question mark? Are the OG bloodline the Yankees? What is the comparison there? The fact they've been around for so long? I mean, as far as their dominance, is that what you're talking about? The Red Sox or the Red Sox Judgment Day? What would that imply? They didn't have, no, the Red Sox would be as a faction, I don't know. I have no idea. How do you feel about the sports corgi? The fuck are you talking about, Magic Plumeyer? What is sports corgi? Do we have another meme in our hands? What is sports corgi? Were you the person that brought up Trevor, by the way? We fucking hate Trevor, by the way. Trevor is a piece of shit. I feel like you were the one that brought up Trevor, but it could have been someone else. We never got that cleared up, and I still hate Trevor. I don't know what sports corgi is, though. Richie said she's definitely on a caloric deficiency. She's more lean and cut comparison to last year, like you said. For Rhea Ripley, yeah. Yeah, no, she is significantly more lean than she was a year ago. Again, as long as it's healthy and she knows what she's doing, then whatever. It's obviously intentional, I would think. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. That's her business anyway, I would think. So he said, kind of like Punk, but everyone's just saying he's on the juice. The Punk thing is weird because, it was a bad picture. We won't know what he looks like until he comes back. He will come back probably looking exactly the same as he did a month or two ago. I don't know if he'll look that much different. I don't think Punk's on the juice. Why would Punk start taking juice now as opposed to like 10 years ago? What would be the point of that? Emmanuel said, about to leave, but have you ever heard about the 2009 WWE Legends of WrestleMania game? Yes, I played that game with my brother, my younger brother. We played it on the Xbox. I don't think they had it on the Wii at the time, so we had to play it on the Xbox. But we played it. Now, we had some fun playing that. I had more fun with All-Stars personally, but we did play the Legends of WrestleMania game quite a bit in my older brother's Xbox. Richie said, it's crazy what a dialed-in diet and a workout routine does, but it's either someone's juicing if they're a male, or they're trying to be skinny if it's a woman. I loathe these stigmas. Yeah, a guy gets bigger, oh, they're on the juice. Woman gets skinnier, oh, they must be wanting to lose weight for X, Y, or Z. Like, no, sometimes it's just a health thing, or they want to be skinnier, or they want to be bigger. Like, also, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, again, if it's a case of what you find attractive, then okay, cool, whatever. But like, publicly accusing or shaming these people for doing these things, who gives, how are you affected? You know what I mean? Like, who cares? It's something that you might have a conversation about with your friend, like, oh yeah, I liked Rhea when she was bigger or skinnier or whatever. Same thing with Punk, like, oh yeah, like blah, 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 he was more attractive. Like, that's something like you might talk about with like your friend or something, but like publicly tweeting about these things or telling these people about these things and commenting on their pictures about these things is fucking weird to me. Richie said, I don't think CVV, let me backtrack here. I don't think CVV bought what Dream was selling in that interview, but he also tried to play victim and downplay some of the things that he did. I don't even know why CVV would give him I honestly, like, what would even be the point? I don't even really know. I understand why Chris tried to do what he did, to give him a platform. But, like, Velveteen Dream could have talked about, like, what he was accused of on his own. Like, he could have just done a video saying, hey, here's all the facts, here's what was disproven, whatever. If I was, I don't know. I wouldn't have done that. I don't really know what the point of that was in giving Velveteen. I mean, it wasn't like there's worse people in wrestling than Velveteen Dream. I'm not even saying he's a terrible person. I don't even really understand what the point was of that interview. It didn't even help. It's not even like he gave him the interview and it's like, oh yeah, people saw it differently. It didn't change anything. I have to go back and watch. I don't even think I ended up watching it. Maybe that's part of the problem. Magic Plumaire asked, would you do a Velveteen Dream interview if offered? No, I would not. I think a bunch of wrestling media were offered an interview with him at one point. I don't know who said yes. I just remember that being a thing at one point, not that long ago. And people said no. We were offered it, and I didn't really want to give him a platform. Because it kind of seems like you're just enabling what he wants. So my answer would also be no. He also said, would you like to see CVV push back on some of the nonsensical things these people say in interviews? Richie, also Graham. Yes, I do. Yes. I mean, I think Chris is an amazing interviewer. Chris is great. I know Chris well. I've talked to him a lot. I do think there are certain circumstances, at least in the past, I can't speak to recently, when he's interviewing, like, let's say, fucking Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair, he never brings up the obvious, or he never really pushes back on some of the dumb shit some of these people say. Sometimes he does. Like when Cena, I mean, he did push back on Cena, to be fair, when Cena was like, oh, who cares? And Chris was like, well, people care about what was even the point of the heel turn? It was dumb. Why didn't the Rock thing never lead anywhere? And Cena tried to shut him down on it. I think he could have pushed back more on that. He's like, well, people do care. That was a dumb answer, John. Richie said, do people still comment on your Chuck Palumbo video? Yes, they do. I still get notifications about that over 17 years later, which is crazy. Trevor co-owns Sports Corgi with Bon Quivy, the triple single. Richie said it himself. There you go. That's what the Sports Corgi is. Johnny said she had health issues. Yeah, that's what Rhea said. I don't know if she was kidding or not. I don't know. Because I don't know. The Rhea thing is interesting. Graham's always going to find a way to get in a Trevor dig. Goddamn right, Daniel. Trevor's a piece of shit. He wanted the Spurs to win. What a fucking loser. Oh, Lord, is Sports Corgi going to be a thing? It might be. Unless Magic, he clarifies what he meant by that. Because I don't think he did. Would you bring in Braun Strowman for a one-off match with Femi and have him dominate Strowman? I would be fine with that, Fernando. I'd be fine with that. I don't need to see it, but I'd be okay with it. I think someone asked Braun that, and he's like, if the money was right. Are they really going to pay Braun Strowman a boatload of money to come in just to lose to Oba for one match? That'd be kind of just, what would be the point of that? Like, Oba doesn't benefit from that, and it would just be a waste of money. So if Braun wants a lot of money for it, then probably not. But I wouldn't hate it if they did do it, though. Daniel said, not to ruin, but I think Magic was talking about that dog that keeps picking up the wrong winners on Twitter. Oh, I saw that. Yeah, fire the dog. What an idiot. Richie said, Punk is currently training with renowned trainer Jey Uso, however you pronounce it. Chad Gable and many others have worked with him, and Punk was in a workout video on Jay's Instagram. That dude is jacked. All right, I'll have to see what Punk looks like when he comes back. I don't think, even if he comes back jacked, I don't think it's a juice thing. I think he's just had more time at the gym and his time off. It's really what it comes down to. Johnny said, WWE have to re-release old school classics like No Mercy and Here Comes the Pain. Yeah, but would they even play the same on the current consoles with so many fucking buttons? I don't think they would. It just wouldn't be the same. Richie said, definitely wasn't a bad picture or weird lighting. Punk has been dialing in since the Road to Mania this year, and it shows. I mean, Punk was already in good shape. I'm just saying, we need to see what he looks like when he comes. Well, none of that matters. As big as he is now, I have seen so many pictures of people when they're off of TV. They look huge, they're big, they're swole. They come back, they look exactly the same. It's because, yeah, they have more time to do that shit while they're off, but they come back, they may even look jacked initially. Then they go back to looking the way they were because they're back on the road, you know? I'm not saying he definitely isn't jacked. I'm just saying he probably is, but, like, will he be able to maintain that when he's back? I hope he does. I mean, he looked great anyway, so I don't really care regardless, but we'll see what he looks like in a couple of weeks when he's probably back on Raw or SmackDown. It was, I mean, you have to admit, though, I mean, it was not a clear as day picture. That picture was pretty fucking blurry. I mean, it was not a great picture. I'm not saying it was, I'm just saying that could have been a reason to why people think that he's not as swole or he looks like he was taking PEDs or something. I need another picture of Punk, what he looks like currently. It's like the Montez Ford thing all over. Oh, Ford looked fat and all this other shit. That was a bad angle. And it looked like it was taken on a potato. It definitely is an AI, I'll tell you that. Daniel said, if followed Jay's programs that he offers, Richie. Oh, okay. He's talking about Jay's pro. Okay. Also, he's from Jersey too, so shout out to him. Johnny said, Dream probably paid CVV a lot of money to interview him. He may have. That's very possible. There are people that want to be paid to be interviewed, and I understand why they would ask for that. I would never do that. There was only ever one case of a person that I interviewed where they didn't ask to be paid. They just asked, hey, can you donate like $10 to this charity that I'm running? And I did that, and that was the only time I ever actually paid money to actually interview someone. Beyond that, I would never pay money to interview someone. I think that's kind of goes against journalism ethics, but that's just my opinion. Talking about more about Jay's programs. I hear CVV is going to interview Joey Ryan and Marty Scurll. I don't think he is, Johnny. I know you're joking, but I don't know if he would go quite that far. Emmanuel said, I don't think he wants to take the heat on either one of those. Joey Ryan especially. Emmanuel said, Legends of WrestleMania and All-Stars were an interesting experiment in trying to get a second game series going. They even reduced the Legends and SVR09 in 2010 for it. That makes sense. I didn't really think about that, but that makes sense. SVR09 on PS3, Xbox 360 had a feature where you could export the roster to Legends of WrestleMania, though you could reverse for Legends roster, the Legends roster. Oh, you could not do the reverse for the Legends roster. That makes sense. That is cool, though. That's cool that was even an option. I've seen that with other games, like with the Lego Star Wars games. That's pretty sick. Oba versus Braun sounds like a VKM wet dream. It does. Thank you, Richie. I just got the notification of what you just sent me, so I will look at it after this. I don't think people are looking at the right stuff. I'm not saying you're not. I'm saying everyone else that only ever... I'm not going out of my way to look at these pictures, aside from what you just sent me, but people only go off of what they see, and they don't look at, like... You know, actually, fuck it. Let's just look it up right now. While we're here on the air. Richie sent me the post. I'm showing... So Punk's doing... He's working out. Yeah, his arms are fucking jacked. Holy shit. He does look jacked. All right. All right. I hope he comes back looking like that, because Punk looking like that coming back would be fucking crazy. Good for him. I mean, it's not like he looked bad anyway, but he wants to beef up. Holy shit, he's going to be a fucking monster when he comes back. What happened with me and Chuck Palumbo, Fernando said? Nothing. I just posted a Titantron video of his entrance video from back in the day, back in 2009. And it's got, I don't know how many views, hundreds of thousands, 100,000. I don't know how many views that video has, but I still get comments on it to this day. I've actually never met Chuck Palumbo. I should, and I should tell him this, that he's gotten me a lot of views because of that one video that I posted of him. But, yeah, that is the Chuck Palumbo story. Johnny said, I recently got Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and it plays great on the latest consoles. That's cool. I don't know. I just don't think No Mercy is the same thing. I don't know. There was just something different about being able to play it on like the N64. It could work, but also the part of the nostalgia is having the graphics that it did. Updating the graphics, it just wouldn't be the same. And also, I don't know if they would re-release that game, because like fucking Benoit's in that game. You know what I mean? Like would they really give it a new roster, or like that? Just it wouldn't make sense. Have you seen any of the Strowman food eating show? No, I've only seen clips from like when I tune into SmackDown and it's on right beforehand. I've heard it's actually good from people that have watched it. I have not watched any of it, but I've heard from people that have seen it that it's actually entertaining. Richie said it has 372,000 views, the Chuck Palumbo Titantron. That's fucking crazy. I want to meet him one of these days and show him that video just to say, man, this is crazy. People still miss you, even though you have not been on TV in almost 20 years. Richie said he's going to DM me the video. I just watched it. Yeah, he looks good. Does Punk. Daniel said, will we get a third Bully interview, Grim? Even getting the second one shocked me. At this point, no. If I get offered again to interview Bully, the answer is no. The second one was more of like hey, let me give this a shot, because the first one didn't go great, and it ended up being just also as uninteresting as the first one as far as the vibe that I got from him. So I don't think a third Bully interview is ever going to happen. Punk looking jacked indeed. What do you think has been your worst interview, Magic Plumaire said. Good question. I've said this before. There's been a few. The Bully Ray one, the first one from last year, one of the weakest ones I've ever done. I just did not get a good vibe from him at all. The interview itself, I think, is fine. I don't like that one. There's a handful that I would say I'm like, I didn't really like how that went. That's the first one that comes to mind. There's a few others that I won't share here, but I did one with Braun Breaker years ago where I wasn't really the issue. He was just completely uninterested in everything anyone had to say that day, and he gave everyone terrible interviews to the point where that day was like infamous and people did not release their interviews with him that day. Sasha Banks was another one. I know someone said that in the chat. Magic said, would you do another Sasha interview? I would. I don't really care for her personality where she's always in character. She just comes across like a bitch. And I know that's like the point where like, oh, MJF does that too. With MJF, at least it's entertaining. Sasha being in character where her talking about everything she does is great is not entertaining. At least back then. That was like 2019, 2020, 2021. I would interview her again. She's also a big star. Bully Ray is not. There's a difference. Yeah, the Sasha interview, the second one, I specifically did not overly enjoy either. Although I think the interview itself is fine. Would Ryback have been a better world champion than Jey Uso, Fernando asked? I don't know. I'm not going to say yes, because I don't know. Jey Uso was champion for 6 weeks. I think Ryback would have been champion for more than 6 weeks. So, probably yes, honestly, but I can't say that for sure. Magic said, sometimes Punk looks great in these workout vids in the past, then comes back looking the exact same. LOL. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. So we'll see. Hopefully he can maintain it. And if not, I don't give a shit. He looks great regardless. Magic said, did you see sometimes Strowman's eating show got better ratings than Dynamite and NXT? I think I've heard that, which is funny. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of shocked by that because, then again, it's the lead-in or the follow-up to SmackDown, which obviously gets higher ratings than Dynamite and NXT. That's probably the biggest reason why Strowman's show would get higher ratings than either one of those shows. It's because of the lead-in and what it's following. Did I get paid for the Palumbo video? No, because it's not monetized, because it can't be. It's not my fucking footage. It's not my song. It's a non-monetized video. There's so many videos that I've taken that have gotten, like, I took a video of Brock Lesnar. It's not up anymore. It got taken down, unfortunately. But I could still show you on the back end of what it got. I took a video of Brock Lesnar returning at SummerSlam in 2021 when I was there in Vegas, when I was sitting in the press box. It got like 5 million views or some shit. It was fucking crazy. It got like 5 million views. Couldn't make a dime off of it because I got a bunch of subscribers from it, but I didn't get a dime off of it because I don't own the footage. It makes sense. I mean, I didn't get it, it's not my shit, so I totally get it. Chuck Palumbo's the same thing. Make sure you like the video while you're here, though. This video, that is. The hearts just reminded me of that. Was the Chuck and Billy wedding before you started watching wrestling? Yes. I started watching wrestling full-time in 2008. That was in 2002. Johnny said, you're right. Redacted is in the games I mentioned, and the great word of Farouk, damn. Yeah, but there's also a bunch of people in those games that, like, they would never put in the modern day. Like, they would never remake those games because they would have to pay the people that are in the games. And so many of those people work for different companies or are dead or they're not on good terms with anymore. It would just never happen. I would love to do a Love Ziggler interview magic. I would love to. But Tyreek's got to show up first. I can't. I would love to interview Tyreek about Love Ziggler, more so than interviewing Love Ziggler, if that makes sense. Would I interview Rhonda? I would, actually. She does not come across great in a lot of the shit that she says, but I would probably interview Rhonda. I read her book. She comes across like a fucking narcissist sometimes, but I would probably interview her. I mean, some of the things she says are dumb as shit, but I would probably interview Rhonda, yes. And be real too, like follow up and like, okay, what did you mean by that? You know what I mean? Which is hard to do in the moment, but you have to get in the habit of doing that, following up on questions where their answers don't make sense. You got to be like, okay, why is that, or that doesn't make sense, and have more of a conversation as opposed to just giving them a platform to say dumb shit. Fernando said, why do you think Saraya Page was not able to connect with the AEW fans like Tony Storm and the CEO were able to do? So she came in late 2022. That was when Jamie Hayter was really getting over. And honestly, you have an over Brit at that point. You're going to run with her over Paige. Jamie Hayter was also just better. Paige was not having any great matches. She was not having great promos. She got over, like she was over early on. People did like Paige and were happy to see her in AEW. But honestly, I love Paige. She wasn't exactly having great matches or great promos, like I said. So that was also a big part of the problem where, she wasn't really, I don't want to say not holding up her end, but I don't know. It just didn't really click. She wasn't really going in there and having the great matches or having anything great stories that would have resulted in people really getting behind her. Tony Storm also had an amazing character. And Mercedes is just having great matches. I mean, that's a big difference. Paige is definitely different in that sense. Johnny said, Rey Mysterio probably got the worst 4-month title reign. Yeah, in 2006, I mean, he lost to fucking everybody. That reign was terrible for the most part. Who was a wrestler that in person was taller than you thought and shorter? Rhea is a lot shorter than I thought. The TV makes her look a lot taller than she actually is. She is short. Roxanne is like a child short. Zelina Vega is like a child short. Other wrestlers that I thought were shorter or taller in person. For guys, I'm not sure. Omos is fucking huge. I mean, I could tell you that anyway, but I met him a few times and he's massive. A lot of the guys are a lot bigger than you would think. Like just standing next to them, like holy shit, like Taker's huge. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question though. Johnny said, it's crazy to think Darby had a classic world title reign and held the title 2 weeks less than Jey Uso. Yeah, I mean, they packed a lot into that 6 weeks. Darby had an amazing run. The best short title run I've ever seen personally. Chris Fatplander, what's going on? Thank you for joining us. Saying, when in MMA did you mean to say, did you ever consider doing a tournament? I did do a tournament. When I did MMA for several years, and maybe I'll get back into it at some point, but I did 3 tournaments. The first tournament, I think I lost. I didn't get a medal for that. The second tournament I did, I got 3rd place. third tournament I did, I got second place. I'm pretty sure. I don't know where the medals are now, but they're probably lost to time. But no, actually, that's not true. That's not true. I actually have one of the medals. It was found somewhere by my family, and they gave it to me recently. I actually have it over there. It was one of the Naga tournaments, I think that's called. Not MAGA. Naga, N-A-G-A. So, yeah, I actually did a few tournaments. How much time is left on Britt Baker's contract? I would love to know, too, because she should be out of that company. They haven't used her in almost 2 years. Like, what are we waiting for? Richie said, I had no clue you did MMA. Yeah, I only talk about it on here when people ask me about it, but otherwise I don't bring it up. There's a lot of things that I have experienced and have done that I never really bring up that people would never really know. I did do a video on my experience doing MMA here on the channel a long time ago, like over 10 years ago. But yeah, I haven't done it in a long time, so just, time and being busy and other stuff going on and whatnot. Anyway, how do you feel about Edge and Christian in 2026? I think they're great. I'm glad they're reunited. I'm glad they're tag team champions. Love the FTR matches. I'm a big Edge and Christian fan even still in 2026. If this is it for Edge, by the way, then I think he's going out on a high note. Even Christian, too. If this is how they retire, I think that's pretty cool. Raquel is tall on TV, but also tall in person. That is very true, Daniel. Yes, I actually talked with Raquel over Mania weekend, and I interviewed her in person, and she is indeed very tall. Have I had any paranormal encounters? Well, if we start getting to random questions, we'll be here all day. I do got to get going soon. Paranormal encounters? Yes, but to a smaller degree. The answer is yes. But nothing like, oh my God, nothing like huge. It's just like, I'm pretty sure I saw a ghost several different times over the course of my life. Nothing really recently, though. Raquel might be legit a 6-footer damn near LOL. I think she is. She's really tall. What was the best MMA style wrestling match you've ever seen? I don't know. The fight pits in NXT were always great. Maybe one of those. If those count, I don't know. What is your favorite song to listen to right now? Right now, I don't really have a favorite song right now, I don't think. It's usually just random shit. Looking at my Spotify, nothing. You know what? Actually, I'll give a shout out to this. I first heard this when they did Anarchy in the Arena, or rather Stadium Stampede, a few weeks ago. The song they used for that video introducing Jericho's team, Devil's Dance by Metallica. Had never heard that song before, I don't think. Love the song. Nike fan is here. I just answered Nike's question and didn't even realize that he's here. Dan, you got to DM him. You got to DM Nike fan. You owe him $25. That's amazing. I love how he's living up to his deal. He's living up to the bet. That's incredible. But to answer your question, probably Devil's Dance by Metallica. UFC and TKO wants you to be a diehard fan. Yeah, I didn't watch the White House show, by the way. Late stream running from Nike, LOL. Yep. Chris Fatlander, you are correct. That's amazing. I love how we get up. Literally, I'm about to end in a couple of minutes. A Nike fan pops up, and he says he owes him. What a guy. We love you, Nike. Thank you for living up to your... Thank you for living up to the bet. But if we could have Tyreek pop in and talk to us about Love Ziggler, and he can live up on his end of the bargain, then the world will be a better place. But, I still love Tyreek Cunningham. I just have an issue specifically with Trevor. He's just a fucking asshole. He can go, I don't want to actually get booted off of YouTube by saying what I was going to say, but I think you get my gist. We hate Trevor here. Anyway, should Maya beat Athena and go all the way to the finals and lose to the CEO? You know what? Honestly, I think Mercedes is winning anyway, so why not? That'd be great. Maya's already had history with Athena in Ring of Honor. That'd be cool. I'd be cool with Maya beating Athena. That'd be shocking. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'd be cool with it. Has anyone mentioned you look like someone that you didn't personally see it? A lot. Yes. Whoa, what the? Tyreek is here? What the fuck? Tyreek, I just mentioned you. Say his name and he appears. We believe in the Cunningham. Boom, boom. We believe in the Tyreek. Boom, boom. What the fuck? Tyreek, I just mentioned you a second ago. Listen, Tyreek, you don't pop in here and not mention, if Nike can live up to his bet. Did you hear what I just said? Have you been listening this whole time? You explained to us what the Love Ziggler nickname means. This is it. This is as close as we've ever gotten. What the fuck? I am stunned right now. Tyreek, answer the question. If Nike can do the bet, I am betting you some certain amount of money that you will not tell us what the Love Ziggler nickname is. And also who Trevor is. We hate Trevor. Get back to me on that. What the fuck? But anyway, as far as people that I was told that I look like, I've been told that I look like Nick Jonas. That was a big thing in middle school. I was told that I looked like Jesse Eisenberg. I get it, but I'm like, okay. I didn't see that as a compliment. Let's put it that way. Jesse Eisenberg, Nick Jonas. Fuck, man. I've gotten so many. Those are the top two. There were definitely more, though. Those were definitely the top two. Daniel Bryan. I've gotten that before. When he was like babyface Bryan, like unbearded Bryan. I think Alexis said that initially when I met her, which is funny. Let's see. What else? Nike fan said, Spurs lost, but Spurs will be back next year. Knicks will be back in another 50 years. Bronson, he is calling Brunson a beast, though. Congrats to the Knicks. Love to see it. Johnny said, I hate Trevor working for the WNBA team, Connecticut Sun. Oh, you hear that he's working for the Connecticut Sun. He better be. That would be easier for me to find him so I can take him down. What is going on? Who is Love Ziggler? That is the great question, Richie, and fucking Tyreek is not going to answer. Nike, so here's another thing. You guys are talking about Venmo and all this other stuff. Nike said my phone doesn't let me download any apps. Nike fan. How is he going to send? You said send him a DM. I think the best course of action, to be perfectly honest with you, Nike, I know you leave comments. I don't know if you have a Facebook or a Twitter or whatever the fuck. You can leave a comment either on this video after we're done here. I mean, even if it includes your address or something, I can delete it immediately, or you can delete it right after Daniel acknowledges it. Or if you need, or do it on my website or something. I don't know. Or Nike, you can send me a DM or something, and I can send it to Daniel. I don't know how that works exactly. But yeah. I appreciate you living up to your end of the bet, though. That's great. Which faction was more influential in wrestling, in the modern era, the Bloodline or the Bullet Club? It's a great question, Fernando. Modern era? I got to go Bloodline because it's been better for business for WWE. Bullet Club, though, basically helped create AEW, so it's very difficult to say. I'm going to say Bloodline. Like, what is modern era? 10 years? 15 years? I'm going to say Bloodline because it kind of led to the success that WWE's had in the last 5 years. So I'll say Bloodline. But Bullet Club, I can understand the case for. Johnny said, I was told I look like Joey Ryan. That's not a compliment. I'm sorry to hear that. Fernando said, it kind of looked like Pete Davidson. It's also not a compliment, but thank you, Fernando. Richie said, when I was a kid, I was told by numerous classmates that it looked like Junie from Spy Kids. Oh, isn't that the brother? The main girl and the main brother? Like the main sister, the main brother? I didn't know you when you were a kid, Richie, but I don't see that. I don't see that. W community is here. I agree. Pete Davidson is criminal. Isn't he a criminal? Maybe not, but yeah, that is crazy. Oh, Daniel just gave Nike fan his cash app. There you go. There you go. All right, well, what we're going to do now is wrap up. And hopefully, Nike, you took down Daniel's cash app. Yeah, Daniel Bryan, Pete Davidson is, I know, man, it's tough out here. Can't we just look like ourselves, you know? Y'all three look nothing alike. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand, Daniel. I look like me, okay? That's who I look like. I look like fucking me. Hey, Dan Malcolm, you have two. One that's blue and orange. Hey, Daniel, you got to let him know which Cash App is the right one. The blue and orange one is the Knicks fan one, right? I mean, it's got to be that one. It's probably the correct one. Well, you guys figure that out. Now I'm going to run through our plugs here as we get on out of here. I want to shout out the channel members: Alexis, Miss Mud Matthews, Dillon, DiGiacomo, Mrs. Renee, Daniel, Malcolm, at Quarter on X, DJ Swerve1, at Swerve1 on IG, Mr. Marceau, at RJ_Marceau on X, John Ritland, Real Honesty with John Ritland on YouTube, Richie, Red Planet Wrestling on YouTube, and Average Grunt, at gruntwrestling.bluesky.social on Blue Sky. More information, how to become a WrestleRant All Access Pass channel member down below. If you want to send a question to the show, you can do so by tweeting me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Include your question to me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Graham.GSM.Matthews. Include your question on the comment section on the post that I usually put up on Monday nights, if not on the wall itself. Last but certainly not least, include your question down below in the comment section on this very video after we're done processing the video, and I'll include your question in next week's edition. Thank you to everyone that tuned in here today. For all the live activity in the chat, be sure to like this video on the way out, subscribe, be sure to turn on notifications for every time we're live here on the channel. Typically Tuesdays and Thursdays. We will be live again around noon, 12:15, 12:30 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday with myself and Mr. Marceau, talking God knows what, so stay tuned for that here on the stream coming up in a few days. I look forward to that. We will talk more Knicks stuff on Thursday with Mr. Marceau in the wake of their NBA Finals victory on Saturday, and whatever else pops up in the world of wrestling between now and then. So, again, thank you guys for tuning in to the show here today. Daniel, you just gave Nike Fan your new Cash App. There you go. It's there in the chat. I think you guys are all settled. Happy to hear it. Nike Fan, thank you. Daniel, thank you. Love to see it. We're settling bets here in the chats on hashtag AskGSM. That's an amazing way to spend a Tuesday. And we've been here for damn near 3 hours, and it's been a blast. Thanks to you guys tuning in, watching after the fact, watching live, sending in questions, comments, and just having a damn near fun time, as always. So, anyway, guys, like I said, we'll be back on Thursday for WrestleRant Radio, myself and Mr. Marceau. We will be breaking down Raw for Monday, talking the latest King and Queen of the Ring updates in the tournament, and whatever else is going on in the world of wrestling, and going into then, as well as the Knicks victory, like we said. So, until next time, guys, have an awesome one. I'm Graham GSM Matthews. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and I'll catch your ass down the road.